Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Wednesday. No, I always say that on Sunday. It's Sunday, man. It's the Sunday show. There's something wrong in my brain when it comes to Sunday. I always want to say it's Wednesday. But it is Sunday, March 27th, 2022. And again, we're doing this Sunday show. If you haven't tuned in before, it's a show about promoting other people in the community who are doing the research, the work, getting an important message out there. And if you want to be a part of the show, send me an email. Email GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. And in the heading, just put invite or Sunday show. And what'll happen is I'll email you back a link. You click on that link, and it puts you in the waiting room for the show. And you have to hook up either your mic or your camera or both. If you don't want to put your face out there, that's okay, but you're going to need a mic for people to hear you. And we can have up to 10 people at a time on. And I think what'll happen is if, like last week, we had more than 10 people who wanted to be on. I think if like you're the first on and you've been on and you've said your piece, then we'll just say, okay, you know what? Some new faces want to get on here. So if you don't mind logging off, we'll see you again next Sunday. And if you are interested in joining the show, now's a good time to email GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. And before I check my email and start inviting people, since it is March Madness, and on probably most people's minds tonight, it's the March Madness tournament or the 94th Oscars. Of course, they got the Academy Awards going on tonight for the movies. And that reminds how just the other day, the news was the death of the Foo Fighters member right after they put out their movie Studio 666. And of course, the Foo Fighters were established in 94. And then they get in the movie business. And then next thing you know, the drummer of the band's dead right before the 94th Academies. And if you missed my work on the death of Taylor Hawkins, again, the Foo Fighters also just made the 36th Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And then Taylor Hawkins died 36 days after his birthday. And of course, they just put out the movie Studio 666, where 666 is the 36th triangular number. If you missed my video on that, I put it out yesterday morning, Saturday, as the news was getting around to most people about his passing. And a lot of important information in there. But, you know, just for another one of these sports rituals, if you are watching the St. Peter's Peacocks, the greatest Cinderella story ever told. If you watch them go down today at the end of the game, they mentioned how this past week, their greatest player in team history just so happened to die at age 74. And I thought, man, they do this so much to the sports fans. It's just like, what's wrong with people? What is wrong with people? Like, how can you continue to watch sports and watch them do this in the presentation and just treat it all like it's, you know, above board, and it's all just a big coincidence? The St. Peter's Peacocks, whose run begins on St. Patrick's Day, whose last win comes on Peacock Day, March 25th. Anyhow, look at this. I just caught wind of this, but just look at this. So this man, he was part of the 67-68 St. Peter's Peacocks team, which was the best team they ever had before this year. And notice, he was born March 6th, 48. He died March 22nd, old 322, 16 days after his birthday. And the St. Peacocks' last win, or the St. Peter's Peacocks' last win, came in the Sweet 16, as they call it. And this man had died 3 days before that game. And the Peacock Day game was March 25th, the 84th day of the year. This man who died, his full name was Elnardo Julian Webster, which equals 84. And, of course, in Gematria, Peacock Day and Jesuit both equal 84. And, again, in light of him dying at age 74, St. Peter's Peacocks is a Jesuit school. In Gematria, and remember, Jesuit is short for Society of Jesus. In Gematria, Jesus equals 74, cross is 74, Messiah 74, gospel 74, parable 74. Again, if you don't get all those connections, Jesus on the cross, he's Messiah in the Christian faith. The story of Jesus' life is the gospel. Jesus spoke in parables, which are riddles. And that's what the cabal does every day. Lays down these riddles in front of our face and expects us to just overlook them or think they're a coincidence or not give it a second thought. I call it coincidence programming. But in light of him also dying 3 days before the game, you think of the Trinity, the Catholic Church. When you write out the word 3, it has Gematria 56 as a word, just like Society of Jesus has Gematria 56 as a word. And if you're asking, how can Jesus equal 74 and Society of Jesus equal 56? Jesus equals 74 and you just use the alphabetic order. Society of Jesus equals 56 when you use the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology applied. And the thing about this man being part of this 67-68 team that was their best team before this year, notice when St. Peter's Peacocks won on Peacock Day in the Sweet 16, they scored 67 points in that game. And as we know, blood sacrifice equals 67, human sacrifice 67. And again, for all the people who think, first of all, you should ask yourself, why do they even call it March Madness? Like, what kind of name is that? March Madness. And we know the gematria behind it equals Catholic, and that's who runs the tournament. It's why the first format of March Madness was won by the Catholic school, Villanova. By the way, Catholic equals 71. Villanova happened to pick up their 71 tournament win all time this weekend on a 71 date numerology. But again, the first ever March Madness was the Catholic school of Villanova over the Jesuit school, Georgetown. And again, it's just one more reminder. As funny as it sounds, the way that I really started to realize the Jesuits ran the whole show was by applying this knowledge and paying attention to what was happening in the world, but ultimately seeing what was going on in sports with the Jesuit and Catholic programs. Because, if you're awake, you should realize sports is probably the most important thing in this world to most people. Sports is a big deal. It's what keeps the manpower parked on their ass. But, again, just all these familiar patterns. If you're new here, they're not familiar to you yet, but we're talking about ritualistic death, ritualistic human sacrifice, the same numbers again and again, numbers like 67 and 74. And I also noticed this man, he was the 54th pick of the 69 draft. Remember, if you write out Jesuit order, it's 54. If you write out the Jesuit order, it's 69. He was the 54th pick of the 69 draft. And if you don't know this in basketball history, the shot clock was added to the NBA as a new thing in 1954. Remember, Jesuit order is 54 with numerology, which is the alphabetic order. The word sun is 54. Of course, the Jesuit logo is the sun. They serve the Catholic Church. That's a sun cult. That's why they worship on Sunday. And the thing about making the shot clock 24 seconds, what it was agreed to in 54, if you read out the sun, it equals 24, like there's 24 hours in a day. Sun is 54 with the alphabetic order. The sun is 24 with the alphabetic order and rules of numerology. So a 24-second shot clock in 54 when the Jesuits have been controlling, the numerical rituals for all this time. And, I don't know if you can find a more clear example than this one. There's a lot of them out there, but I mean, how clear is this? Star player of the team dies 16 days after his birthday before the team gets their biggest win ever in the Sweet 16. He was on that 67 team. They score 67. I mean, and it just makes me sick just watching the games and the way the announcers bring it up. And our condolences to El Nardo Webster, longtime St. Peter's great, who just happened to pass this week. Big week for the Peacocks. Just wait till baseball season starts, like opening day. It happens every year. It's like opening day. Some huge member of the baseball community's dead. The announcers are like, and our condolences to this man who's been with the sport for 50 years. And too bad he couldn't have been here to see opening day. It's just like, oh my God. Just year after year, it's the exact same thing. And it's just like, who's watching these games and just think this is a coincidence every year? I remember it happens every year, but the year the Kansas City Royals beat the Mets in the 111th World Series. Remember, Queen Elizabeth born on the 111th day of the year, New York 111, the Royals over the New York team in the 111th World Series. But I remember just the opening pitcher for the game, he comes out and tosses a gem for the Royals, and then the closer comes out and closes them out. And then the announcer goes, man, it's too bad that the fathers of the starting and closing pitcher couldn't be here today to watch the game. They just died hours apart. yesterday. It's just like, come on, man. Fathers of the pitchers that start and close the game just happen to die the day before the World Series starts. I'm forgetting a million other examples that are just important, but it's just again, I mean, it's like broadcasting to a brain dead society. Look at that perfect demolition of those 2 towers, you guys. Here's the man who did it. We already know he's in a cave. We don't know what cave he's in, but we're just going to blow them all up with our bunker busters, with our crackhead president. But take our word for it, that wasn't a perfect demolition. That was because of the planes, and he's in a cave. And then the Yankees are in the World Series, but what else is new? So anyway, R.I.P. to El Nardo Webster. I suppose the price of going to a Jesuit school, the price you could pay. But again, this happens to people that go to all sorts of other schools. But then again, at the end of the day, I mean, there's only so many Jesuit universities technically in the nation. But I think at the end of the day, every last school in this nation's a Jesuit school. Let's not forget that Jesuit order equals school. And all the history books that we learn from, all the science books that we learn from, they're pretty much all given to us by the Jesuits. Their history, their interpreted science that we're supposed to just take as fact. So anyhow, but I got to say to open here, let's see if anybody's reached out. Again, if you want to be part of the show tonight, GematriaEffectNews at gmail.com. And we have 3 people that want to get in, Xander, Jason, and Garrison. I'm going to send you guys your interviews right now. But before I send out the interviews, I just want to say this too. If you've been following me on Gematria Effect Sports, I've been uploading all these short videos. Something went wrong. What happened here? Oh, well, now they won't even let me show it to you. Anyway, I've been uploading all these short videos about the tournament at the end of the games. And they just, for the first time, they just blocked one. They said I violated the copyright. But what's funny is it's the very first video I uploaded where I didn't even show any part of the game. It was like the least likely one to block for copyright. And I know the real reason they blocked it. It's because I talked about this El Nardo Webster death in it. And again, it's just they don't want certain information out there. But here, let's get these invites sent out. And bear with me one moment here while I get that done. Got to click a few buttons there to get the invites sent out. So again, Xander, Jason, and Michael, check your inbox. Invite should be there or in moments. And again, you guys are welcome to come on and talk about anything that's current that's going on right now. I know March Madness is buzzing, and it's a topic that a lot of people tuned into, but there's a number of other things you're welcome to come on and share about tonight. The initial invites are sent out, and here I can show you on my Twitter page. I got this email. Hi, Gematria Effect Sports. A copyright owner using Content ID has claimed some material in your video. As a result, your video has been blocked and can no longer be played on YouTube. This is not a copyright strike. This claim does not affect your account status, but it was the NCAA, CBS, as well as Turner Sports who made the claim. And, but it's just funny because all these videos right here show footage of games, and then the one they blocked is one that literally shows no footage of the game. So you think it would be the least likely video to get blocked for copyright, but it's because I talked about the death, and it's because I also gave a big tip on the Final Four, which they probably didn't want people to have. But it's funny how they blocked it right when it got to 11 views, and it's all about Coach K. Of course, K is the 11th letter. And it just makes me wonder, was it even really on 11 views, or is that just them, manipulating the numbers and blocking y'all at the same time? So anyway, you give too much information and then they use their little copyright to suppress your message. It's too bad. Because, it's a video that everyone deserved to hear. And if they want to stick this kind of stuff in people's face, see, that's the thing. They know they can get away with sticking it in front of people's face, but if there's a guy in the room who's smart enough to see, wait a minute, they got to suppress that one smart guy. They know the village of, you know what I mean? There's, village of morons. They're not going to get it. So, okay, we got our first people getting in here. Jason's in. somebody going by Pick is in, and let's get Jason on first. Jason, what's up? Jason? Jason, make sure you unmute your mic. So far, I don't hear Jason. He's definitely in the room, but Jason, make sure your mic's hooked up. You haven't muted yourself on your end, and then we should be able to hear you.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Now I do.
Hey, Zach, how's it going, man?
It's going well. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I sent you an email. I can't pull it up. Is there any way you can read my email real quick while we're talking?
Yeah. Let me pull it up here again.
Yeah, just some thoughts I had on the NCAA tournament with Duke winning. Just some things I came across the other day that just popped out really, just interesting facts, I think.
Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, I know why I can't see it. Okay. Did you want me to actually read your email?
Yeah, you can read it to me. That's fine.
Okay. So Jason just wrote this. He said, "Here are my thoughts on the NCAA tournament. Please check it out. Thank you. 2022 NCAA champion Duke Blue Devils. Coach K's birthday is 2/13, February 13th. Don't forget 2/13 is the 44th day of the year, and the championship is on 4/4. And remember that his birthday is also the day of the Super Bowl. And this Super Bowl on the 44th day of the year, the first time ever, was the first time the 4 seed from the AFC faced the 4 seed from the NFC.
Correct, right. Yeah, the 44 has been crazy.
Yeah. So, and then he goes, this whole past year has been about 44. 2/13 to 4/4 is 50 days. 4/4 has date numerology of 50 and 14. Duke equals 14 in the Pyrrhus cipher. From Duke's last championship on 4/6/2015 to 4/4/2022 is exactly 365 weeks. A perfect cycle, 365 days in a year. So Coach K won his first championship in 91 and played the first tournament game on 3/14 that year, Pi Day, and Duke was a number 2 seed. They won that year, just like they're a 2 seed this year. That was the only year out of all of his championships he was a 2 seed, and they are a 2. Oh, they are a 2 seed again this year.
Yeah, they are.
So Coach K won his first championship in 91 and played the first tournament. Oh, wait, I'm reading the same sentence over and over. So from the championship game in 1991 to the championship game in 2022 is exactly 31 years and 4 days, like pi 3.14. And get this, the first championship was on 4/1. And if he wins this year on 4/4, that would be his last. Well, look, or add 41 and 44 and it equals 85. Of course, basketball is 85. The Pope right now is 85. The first March Madness was in 85. Duke just advanced to the Final Four on the 85th day of the year, along with Villanova, who won March Madness in 85. And again, they were both 2 seeds. Basketball equals 85 the big way, 22 the small way. So the thing that I said in the video that just got blocked is, and it was the same thing I put out for my people on Patreon this morning for why it looked like we'd have the same teams in the Final Four again. So, okay, here's all the things to go through. Again, Coach K's first championship was in 91. 91 is the 13th triangular number. That means if you had 1 through 13 together, it equals 91.
Right.
And 41 is the 13th prime number. Duke equals 41 in the most simple cipher. So does Coach K. 41, the 13th prime. Coach K made it to his 13th Final Four, the first coach to ever do that. He just passed John Wooden, who he was tied with at 12, 41 days after his birthday. And if you go back and look at the Final Four in 91, 3 of the same teams were in it. Duke beat Kansas that year. So now we have Duke, Kansas, and North Carolina again in the Final Four, just like it was in 91. And you got to consider 91 was also the year that Jordan, who played at North Carolina, won his first championship in the NBA. And Jordan won 6 championships. Now Duke's going to rematch against North Carolina, and Coach K is trying to win that 6th championship after making it to his 13th Final Four, when 13's the 6th prime. And it reminds me of when Saban won his 6th championship. He did it at age 66. But if you remember the winning play, it was Tua. Alabama was down 0-13 at the half, and they brought in Tua. Jalen, what's his name, Hurts, wasn't getting it done in the first half, so they brought in Tua, down 0-13, and Alabama came back and won. and they won the game on a 41-yard pass from number 13 to number 6, when 41's the 13th prime, 13's the 6th prime, and Nick Saban tied Bear Bryant with his 6th championship in that game, again at age 66. And then the next year, Belichick would win his 6th championship at age 66 in the same stadium. And of course, Belichick and Saban used to coach together on the Browns. But we know 6 is a big special number. It's a biblical number. Man's made on the 6th day. And the question is Coach K going to match Jordan? Is he going to match Saban? Is he going to match Belichick with that number 6? I guess technically he won't match Saban because he's up to 7 now, but he will hit that 6 number if he gets it done. And after Duke's game yesterday, when they went back to the TBS studio, right away the guy said, are they going to write that Hollywood script for Coach K's last season? And, they're all kind of grinning about it. And again, it's just like, that's what I hate watching the games, though. It's like, God, these guys are a bunch of jesters, and they know what's going on, and they're mocking the fans in their suits, and they're telling you about the big coincidence of the latest death connected to the latest team with the latest accomplishment. But yeah, I mean, there really is a lot there for Duke in the narrative. I still got to do my work on the Final Four. If they played Kansas again, it would be a rematch in 91, but you could make an argument for Villanova as well. So if Duke's going to have to beat UNC in the Final Four, and then they'll play the winner of Villanova, Kansas. So it is possible they have the exact same script as 91. And by the way, from 91 to 2022 is 31 years later, which is the 11th prime, and K's the 11th letter, Coach K. And just like I've been saying all these years, you learn your gematria, you learn your prime number relationships, you see right through these riddles. You had to love Kansas outscoring Miami 47-15 today in the second half, where 47's the 15th prime, right before the 15 seed St. Peter's gets blown out. And of course, it's Coach K's 47th season as a coach. And I'll put one more thing out there. There's only one team in the entire tournament that won a game with 83 points. That's interesting because it's the 83rd tournament, and that was Kansas. Kansas won with 83 in the opening round. And in the most pure cipher, New Orleans, Louisiana equals 83. So, anyhow, those are the clues for now.
I also seen a parallel with Duke. In 91, in their Elite 8 game, they advanced with 78 points, I believe. And yesterday in the Elite 8 game, they scored 78 to move on to the Final Four as well.
Those historical parallels. It's amazing how they make history repeat itself. So,
yeah,
I'm going to put up the 1991 men's tournament here so you can see it. So, in the East Regional, North Carolina won their bracket. They made it to the Final Four. Kansas won in the Southeast. Duke won in the Midwest, and UNLV. That's the only difference in this year's Final Four. It's Villanova instead of UNLV this year. So,
yeah. I just think him being born on the 44th day, with 44 being such a huge number recently. With MLB, with the NFL. I guarantee it'll probably have some parallel with the NBA this season as well. But him being born on the 44th day of the year on 2/13, and then this is his last season. I mean, it's hard to see Coach K go out with a loss, just and staying on 5 rings.
There's always a web, the rituals. Again, it's just like how when they put out the bracket on March 13th, and right after they put out the 83rd tournament bracket, Mr. Tom Brady, born on 8/3, announces he's returning to the NFL. He says he's got one more Super Bowl in him. He wants to be 8-3 in Super Bowls. A few days later, it's Peyton Manning's birthday on the 83rd day of the year, and the team that he won the Super Bowl with, their stadium's on fire on the 83rd day of the year. Of course, Colorado and football equal 83. So does Russell. Russell Wilson just went to the Broncos. And if you guys missed that, the Broncos stadium catching on fire on March 24th, that was Peyton Manning's 46th birthday. He runs Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos in Levi's Stadium, which was the 46th Super Bowl of the modern era. And Levi's Stadium is 46. Next thing you know, on his 46th birthday, his stadium's on fire. And as we know, Tom Brady's also Mr. 46. Tom Brady equals 46, like Michigan. He was the 199th pick of the draft out of Michigan. 199 is the 46 prime. By the way, that number reminds me, if you write out Villanova Wildcats, it's 199. They kept the Houston coach on 199 wins yesterday, and the Villanova coach, he stayed on 196 losses, and Houston Cougars is 196. Again, you apply this knowledge to the games of the tournament, you'll be amazed at how many perfect rituals there were and just alignments just like that all throughout the tournament. And it's this way year after year.
Another one for the Cougars. They had posted on TV that the Cougars were 6-0 in Elite Eight games, and Houston Cougars in full is 61 in the most pure cipher. So they fell to 6-1 in Elite Eights, and their Houston Cougars is 61.
Another perfect ritual. Hey, we got two more guys who jumped in the room. Again, Pick and Xander. So I'm going to let them say hi real quick. Jason, you're welcome to stay on. And once everybody says hello, we'll just try to have a group conversation. But Pick, thanks for tuning in today. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Hey, I just want to thank you for all the knowledge first, because I mean, I've come up over $3,000 this weekend from St. Peter's, basically. I put a lot on him. I put basically everything I had, basically because of this right here. I found this. So he died on the 22nd day of March, right? And They were going for their 22nd win.
Also true. Yeah. Good point.
And the team that he led was 21-7 in 68. So if you look at that, and he died on 22, and it was the 22nd year, 2022, obviously. It was kind of easy to see that he could have been the sacrifice for the Elite Eight run. And if you look at sacrifice, that equals 170, as you know, and Elite Eight as well equals 170. So I really just want to come in here and say thanks real quick, because you've given a lot of knowledge. I've tried spreading it. You already know a lot of people don't listen, so.
And they didn't come up $3,000 richer this weekend either. So, I mean, in a way, we want to send a thank you to all those ignorant, closed-minded people, because if you guys were all on board with what I've been showing you for the last 9 years, you know Vegas would have had to switch up the whole system by now.
Amen. And I stumbled across your page about 3 months ago, and I was just kind of just watching a little bit, subscribed to the Patreon about 2 weeks ago. And I just wanted to watch and see exactly what you were providing, because at first, I mean, when you see something like this, you're like, oh my God, it's a lot of information. You know, you kind of want to back off. And once you kind of stick along and figure it all out, it becomes interesting. You know, you view everything a lot differently. So I want to thank you for that knowledge for sure.
Well, you're very welcome, and job well done with the knowledge. Congrats on the win.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll let Xander get on here. What's up, Xander? Thanks for tuning in. Xander, can you hear me?
Hey, dude, can you hear me?
I hear you. Yes, indeed. What's up?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Might be a delay.
Whoa. I think there's a little lag, but yeah, I appreciate all your stuff. So I'm just a big Formula One fan, and I have a Formula One decode, just like, oh, fuck.
You're okay, Xander. There's a little feedback, but I hear you. Formula One decode. I'm listening.
I know you guys are doing basketball, but I'm not really into basketball, so.
That's okay. People are into Formula One. We're listening. What's up?
All right. Let me see if I can share my page.
Hey Zach, I appreciate all you did. I appreciate letting me come on the live stream. I got to get out of here though. I got to eat dinner.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for hopping on and sharing. And by the way, if anybody has to drop off, you're more than, you don't even have to say goodbye. You're more than welcome.
Can you see my screen? Oh,
sure.
Let me see. For hopping on and sharing. And by the way, if anybody has to drop off, you're more than, you don't even have to say goodbye. You're more than welcome.
Can you see my screen?
Oh, sure.
Let me see. For hopping on and sharing. And by the way, if anybody has to drop off, you're more than, you don't even have to say goodbye. You're more than welcome.
Can you see my screen?
Oh, sure.
Let me see. For hopping on and sharing. And by the way, if anybody has, okay. For some reason, when I show your screen, I'm getting
there's so much lag.
I gotta. I don't know why we're getting all that feedback when I share your screen, but here, let's try it one more time.
There's so much lag.
Yeah, I think it's the leg. Hey, Xander, you're gonna have to give us the presentation without your screen, because it's just like repeating what was said over and over. I don't know why that is.
All right, hang on. Let's wait till it. All right. Okay. So I guess if people can't see this, I basically just been applying your stuff to Formula One, just trying to, because you can bet whether somebody wins first place, third place, sixth place, or 10th place. and that's those are all triangular numbers. So there's definitely something here. Oh, can y'all hear me? This is.
I hear you. Yeah, it's okay. Just keep going.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah. Go ahead.
I got feedback. Sorry. Okay. All right. From the first race, March 20th, to the last race of November 20th is a span of 246 days, or a count of 245. Catholic Church equals 246. Perez equals 245, and Satanic. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Super Sub equals 31. Templar 31. Jeddah equals 31. Jeddah, Saudi Arabia is where they were racing this weekend. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not.
You're fine if you just keep going ahead, man. You're fine.
All right, so I have here Satan is 55. There's 55s below. We'll talk about that. Raw equals 10. First career pole equals 80. Settle for fourth equals 80. All these in quotes are from the article from qualifying, where Sergio Perez made his first pole.
You're fine. Just keep going. It's okay. If you want to turn down your volume on your end, it could help. But yeah, you're good.
And basically, I just have all these numbers, these correlations here. But I'll try to get to the. So Sergio Perez got his first career pole in 215 attempts. February 15th, 2022 to January 23rd is a span of 226 days. Max Verstappen, who's the reigning world champion, equals 224. George Russell, he'll be important later, equals 215, and Francis Bacon. They sandwiched Ashton Martin, super sub, Nico Hulkenberg, equals 215. That'll be important later. Sergio Perez got his record on the day, spanning 85 days from the first of the year. He'll race from pole position in the following day, Sunday, which is a count of 85 days, or a span of 86 days from the first day of the year. Register time equals 85. Jesus Hominum Salvador equals 85. Templar equals 85. Saudi Arabia, where they're racing, equals 85 and 86. So they race at Saudi Arabia in the 85th day in a span of 86 days. From December 6, 2020, when Sergio won the Sakir Grand Prix, that's the Russian Grand Prix, to today, March 26th, this weekend's race, Sergio's qualifying record is a span of 476 days, or 68 weeks. Ahead of Aston Martin's Lance Stroll equals 476. Register a time equals 68. WAR equals 68, and Francis Bacon. Sergio Perez became the 110th race winner. This is all from a Wikipedia quote that I'm copying here. Sergio Perez became the 110th race winner. He claimed a first career pole, which is in the article, equals 110. First pole at his 215th attempt, which is in the article, equals 110. A session that saw Lewis Hamilton, he's the reigning champion, he's the GOAT, like that people would think about Tom Brady. He's won 7 championships. He's lost 2 in second place. He has some 4th and some 6th. But he's pretty much the Tom Brady, the GOAT of Formula One. A session that saw Lewis Hamilton equals 110. Skull and Crossbones equals 110. From second place to 18th, that's what Sergio did last year, or in 2020. From second place to 18th and last, that's what Sergio did. He went from last place and won the Grand Prix. And that equals 252, 99, 364, 130 in the base 4 ciphers. 240, 252s, we'll talk about in a minute. Sacrifice equals 99 in Francis Bacon. 200ths of a second, which is what Sergio Perez won his pole lap, the record that we're talking about. That equals 99. Paused for an hour because they had a red flag because Mick Schumacher, who his dad has won 7 championships, kind of like Tom Brady and Lewis Hamilton. It all relates to like football and other stuff. 364 is what pause for an hour means, equals in Francis Bacon. Order out of chaos equals 364 in Francis Bacon. This in 17th and 19th respectively, that was in the article. It equals 130, the longest wait in F1 history. That was in the article. It equals 130. McLaren, they're a race team, equals 130. A violent high, that was in the article. It equals 130. Jeddah, that's where they're racing. It equals 130. Esteban Ocon, he was a big player in today's race. This is actually from the qualifying, so before that, but he equals 58. Jeddah equals 58 in Francis Bacon. So there's basically just all this correlation of how Sergio Perez, he got his first pole in 215. And I don't know if that's February 15th, if it's May 21st. I haven't dug into that more. But I guess to bear everybody with what I have all this correlation here, but just I'm just starting to dig into Formula One. I searched YouTube for Formula One decodes, and no one is doing this. So it's just like I go into one thing.
The guy. I like how thorough you're being. I'm just saying, from now on, when you present, though, it's best to just come with like a really clear example and show people, because there's always a lot of numbers, but you'll overwhelm most people's minds. But
right,
yeah, keep it up, man, because I don't think anyone else is doing F1. We've had 6 more people join the room, so we're going to say hi to a few more people. But great work, Xander. Thank you.
Of course, appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Brian's back. What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I not much right off the start, but I gotta tell you, second one I had to purchase, by the way. All right, so I lost my first one.
The first one.
I don't do it in the move. With my tarot cards and that they both went missing.
Huh?
Most strangest things to go missing. It was weird, but like I honestly got. I haven't finished it. Started it. I love it. I got to the part about what was that? I can't remember his name. The Asian candidate that was talking about a universal basic income. I know that's near the beginning. That's where I got. And I was like, dude, you're so right. Read that right now. And you're like, yep, that's where we're going. That is why that guy ran. It was just to put it in your head. You know, I can't remember his name. Do you know off the top of your head?
The guy who dropped out of the race on February 11th, the Chinese guy for the Democratic Party that said we're all going to lose our jobs pretty soon and we need universal basic income. So
yeah, it's so funny how much of a tease that was and where we're going. And I know that I don't want to be like fear mongering. And please don't think I'm like such a follower. It's just that's one of the other channels, like because you guys are very current. But like Call, he had a good one about talking about an EMP strike, and I actually want to ask you if you ever thought about an EMP strike in the future and when that could happen, if it was possible.
Well, when I first started to work, there was a lot of There was a lot of like fiction coming out, books, TV shows, movies focused on this EMP strike, which fits right in with like the power grid going down, and so.
But like, wouldn't that help the Great Reset? Because we know that
it would.
Exactly. Like that's what's actually the most annoying thing about all this. And you don't have to spend much time on me, you know that. But it's so dang obvious, guys. What's the agenda? We don't need all this stuff to be proved. It's like what happened on March 22nd, all the 322s, our new world order, Mr. Biden saying that. It's like, you guys, are you serious? They're literally like, I don't need much to think about. Like, there's obviously a plan and it ain't for us, and I have so much, I always have so much to say, but I literally could rant on and on and on and on. So I tried my best not to do that.
Okay. Yeah, we got a bunch of people that jumped on at once. So appreciate you keeping it short and swift. And thanks for supporting the book again. I appreciate that too. We got another we got some new faces coming on tonight. You know what? I'm going to let a new face just cut in line. I'm going to get to all of you. But since there are a few people waiting, if you guys can keep your intro, again, just down to a few minutes, that'd be great. But we got a new face here, Diego. Thanks for joining, Diego.
Hey, how's it going, man? I've been watching you for about 5 months now. You can see the jersey in the back. Honestly, man, when that loss happened, I thought about you, and I said, this could be a sacrifice. Maybe Kentucky loses this year. Maybe they're going to win it next year. Maybe they had a sacrifice to win next year. But, man, this is really a shame what's going on, man, on the serious side of things. I really do believe that they're going to let Cade get this one. I really do.
It wouldn't be surprising. It'd be kind of the way they operated. It'd be a lot like when Peyton Manning won it in his last season where he announced his retirement at the start of the year. So
right. Yeah, and, I've been saying all this for, like, the past because I've always knew the NFL was scripted. The way that I found out was not like watching your channel, though. I found out whenever it was the Super Bowl, and it was whenever the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl, and Marshawn Lynch was the best running back that year, and they did not even give him the ball to run it in. And then Russell Wilson, I believe, threw an interception right there at the last minute of the game. And that's when I said to myself, this shit is fake. This is scripted.
And it's gotten even worse since then. But what I still remember that was Super Bowl 49. It was Russell Wilson's 21st pass on the date, 2/1 on the down, 2nd and 1, intercepted by number 21. And Washington's the 42nd state where the Seahawks are from. Brady became 4-2 in that Super Bowl, and it was in Arizona.
Oh, wow.
It was the last Super Bowl in Arizona. Arizona equals 42. But
wow.
What was interesting about that after the game is number 21 went on TV, and he said, man, we were practicing that play all week. And it's like, why would you be practicing that play all week when the announcers also announced that was the first time in the entire season that year that the Seahawks threw the ball on the 1-yard line? All year they'd hand it off to Marshawn Lynch because he's pretty much unstoppable in that situation. So the announcers
I just want to say, regardless, on a first down, that's what you do. There's no need to throw the ball.
It was 2nd and 1. It was 2nd and 1 to be fair, but still, just hand the ball off to Lynch and you win the Super Bowl.
Or even a QB sneak, to be honest. Like, the only time you're going to pass the ball is you're going to roll out and you have the possibility of running it in. I trust me, like I said, I play Madden a lot. When you get to the end zone, it gets really small. You're either running up the middle or you're doing a little trickery where you break something to the side.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, a quick slant obvious is the obvious, but you can read that right off the line.
Yeah, but again, it was like, okay, they haven't thrown the ball all year on the goal line, so why were the Patriots practicing all week for the pass at the goal line if that's an unlikely scenario? It's just like, come on, man. They're just
gotta make the script work. Because you're right. No, you are 100%. I'm so sorry to interject, but you are so right. There's no point to be practicing that all week. I played football. Practicing for plays was a very big thing. And that means you guys, okay, this scenario may come, but like such a very small scenario because it's the Seahawks. They're going to run with Marshawn Lynch. You gotta protect the gaps.
Do you guys remember how Super Bowl 47 ended? The Harbaugh Bowl? Super Bowl 47, the 49ers ran the same play 3 times in a row. Frank Gore's averaging like 10 yards a carry in the second half, and the 49ers run the same play 3 times in a row with Colin Kaepernick, who doesn't – Kaepernick, I mean, he kept rolling – he always rolls out the wrong way. His body mechanics are all wrong, but all 3 plays just throws it through the back of the end zone. It's like the same play 3 times in a row? Come on.
I don't need Gematria to tell you, I freaking hate that guy. Sorry.
But I mean, it was just like the Harbaugh brothers facing each other too, and the name John equals 47, and John wins Super Bowl 47. So, John
and also like, let's remember like that random play where the obviously it's probably not been brought up, but like I remember specifically in that game where Joe Flacco he rolls out, he like throws the ball hella deep. It looks like it's gonna go out of bounds, and somehow his receiver caught it, and like they got like a 40-yard reception. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like
that was the blackout Super Bowl. There was the blackout, and then the 49ers came back. They were getting blown out. Did you want to say anything else, Diego? You're the new face here.
Echo, I'm sorry. I actually just want to say, man, thanks for acting because people really need to know about this, man. I've been saying this for years, and family members have been calling me crazy. I've been laughed at. I mean, honestly, just been made fun of for it. And I'm glad that this is finally. I really hope that you can get big enough where you can make this shit like mainstream, man.
Well,
And people can
it's not going to happen now. I was closer to it in 2016 and 17 before I got deleted. I used to get hundreds of thousands of views back in 2016 and 17. I can't get any views anymore. The censorship's too bad now. But yeah, I hear you, man. It's really annoying being called crazy by everybody when it's like, okay, I'm crazy. You're the one who keeps watching the game where they keep telling you the guy died right before the game, and you're just thinking it's all a coincidence. It's just like that's why I call the masses coincidence theorists. So.
Yeah, I mean, it does not make any sense, man. And then the whole things with like John Cena. I mean, you talked about that the other night. That's true too. Like he was totally right. Like what the NFL is, it's not different from WWE. Like it's not at all. And that's just all I got to add to it. But I'll let somebody else on because I'm kind of busy right now doing stuff around my house. But thanks for letting me on. It was an honor.
Well, you're very welcome, and thanks for supporting the work and tuning in tonight. And we're gonna go out to Shelby next. Hey, Xander, I keep muting your mic, but if you want to say something, be sure to unmute yourself and then say something. The reason I keep muting you is because you're giving us feedback. When you're not muted, the feedback's coming through, and I think it's because your speakers are up too high. But let's let Shelby in the stream. What's up, Shelby?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Good, man. All that feedback is happening because they're not pausing their YouTube. They're probably watching the YouTube while they're waiting to come on. And
that could be.
So,
that could be.
So
too.
you're on, most people use like Safari or whatever. Then you got to use Google to get on the platform. So that's what's going on. You gotta pause the YouTube channel so that you're not listening to it while you're talking. So that's what's going on. Like I've been covering the USFL, which launches on April 15th. And this thing is definitely scripted with the next presidential election. And I've got a new blog post that I just posted in the chat. Can you pull that up by chance?
Yeah, here, let me get it.
Okay.
That's not me. I'm muted.
News by the numbers, tumblr.com. In the chat of StreamYard here.
Okay, I got it up.
Sweet. Yeah. You can scroll down to where you see the Michigan Panthers logo. We'll just start there. Well, that's Donald Trump. He's on his tour. He's been campaigning all over the place. It's called Save America. He's always talking about the election fraud, and that's that stuff. So
remember, they called the election for Biden when he supposedly had 74 million votes. So
right, he keeps bringing up 47 and 74 in his speech. I've been listening.
He's Messiah, man.
Anyway,
I'm kidding.
He used to own the New Jersey Generals, one of the teams in the 80s. There was a league back in the 80s, 83, 84, 85. It folded after the 85 season. The New Jersey Generals was owned by Donald Trump, and Herschel Walker was the running back for the team for the 3 years. Herschel Walker is running for senator for the state of Georgia. He keeps showing up at Trump's rallies when they're in Georgia. So they have a connection because, like right there, Donald Trump, Herschel Walker, they played in East Rutherford, New Jersey, back when it was called Giant Stadium, before it was MetLife Stadium. So you can see the overlaps there, why it's all connected. Now, if you can scroll down a little bit to the next one. Yeah. Now, the Michigan Panthers are symbolically represent Kamala Harris. Harris, Michigan, 44. Back before the last season of the USFL in the 80s, the Michigan Panthers merged with a team called the Oakland Invaders. Kamala Harris is from Oakland, and Black Panther Party was headquartered in Oakland. And this is a major cluster match, is what I call it. Right, if you start right there where it says colonoscopy 152, Kamala Harris last year on November 19th, for 85 minutes, she was serving as acting president, is what they call it. Because
I think they said it was Women's Day too. Wasn't it Women's Day on the calendar, like the Peacocks winning on Peacock Day?
It was actually International Men's Day.
Oh, Men's Day. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Joe Biden was getting a colonoscopy on, Men's Day, taking it up the ass. But so she was acting president. Paxton Lynch, just above that, where it matches at 152. He's one of the quarterbacks for the Michigan Panthers. It's got a 4-cipher overlap right there. Above there, the other 152 in the ordinal, Kamala Devi Harris. That's a match. Then you can see how it all matches down here. 47th president. She could be the 47th president if Joe Biden can't continue with his dementia. That matches with Black Panther Party. If you can scroll up just a tiny bit. Kamala D. Harris, another way to express her name. Shea Patterson, that's the other quarterback for the Michigan Panthers. The Invaders, that's the team that the Panthers merged with back in the 80s. The Panthers, that's the name of the team. Oakland, California, Lynch. And I think Kamala Harris's presidency, when she becomes president, I think it's going to be a Black Panther Party tribute. See how it's Paxton Lynch, kind of like, a lynch.
Sure.
That's kind of a word that's thrown around in Black history, like KKK lynchings, police lynchings.
Well, remember Obama, he ended up having his attorney general be Loretta Lynch, too.
Yeah, and think Marshawn Lynch, he's from Oakland as well.
That's true, yeah.
Emhoff, he is, that's Kamala Harris's husband, Douglas Craig Emhoff. And he is considered the second gentleman right now. Right? That's what they're calling it. Instead of first lady or second lady, it's the first or second gentleman.
Right.
Can you scroll down a tiny bit?
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So womanism, that was an ideology of the Black Panther Party. That matches with Emhoff. International Men's Day. Yeah, second gentleman matches with Black Panther Party. So the Michigan Panthers are going to symbolically represent Kamala Harris in this season. Michigan Panthers play Trump's team, the New Jersey Generals, during the second week, and then they play again on the 9th week of the season. And that 9th week has a date numerology of 60, just like the next election has a date numerology of 60.
It's the 60th presidential election, the next election.
Exactly. And Trump sums to 60 and 48. Right. And I don't know, based on what I think is going to happen, I think we're going to see Kamala Harris become the president because Joe Biden is going to get yanked because he's, acting and behaving like he can't remember anything.
Right.
So they're going to probably pull him, get rid of him, and then bring in Kamala Harris as the 47th president. And she'll face off against Trump in the next
election. My brother money that would happen.
I think he'll win. But
yeah, I like the narrative too. I think because again, Donald Trump's 48 forwards, 60 in reverse. He could become the 48th president in the 60th election if Kamala replaces Joe before the term ends. And again, the only president to ever have a split term was Grover Cleveland in Trump's first, what do they call it? The RNC convention was in Cleveland. So I think that was the clue. Not to mention Cleveland equals 48 as well.
Well, and Grover Cleveland was from New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he was born there, died there, and he's buried there right now. So, so that just makes it a little sweeter. I watched a couple of these Donald Trump rallies.
201.
Because I wanted to know what he was going to say in all those. And of course, he's talking about the election fraud and audits and all that. But he comes out to the song, God Bless the USA, which sums to 221. Trump's birthday after the election is 221 days later. Then when he leaves the rally, he plays the song Hold On, I'm Coming by Sam and Dave.
Okay,
that sums to 144. And the election is 144 days after his birthday.
Perfect. Jesuit order.
There you go. So anyway, you have anything to add to that? Any of this?
Just so you know, 221 is the Bavarian Illuminati, which was founded by a Jesuit. And they were doing a lot of 221 stuff with Trump back in 2016. I was covering that number a lot with him. And as we know, they simulated the last election for Biden to beat Trump 144 days before it happened. So it's the same patterns over and over. But
I think I think we're destroying their narratives. So
yeah, but it's just like even still, the people they're like, oh, they just got lucky again. It's still crazy. It's a coincidence. So
yeah, well, they played a different song last year when they announced Herschel Walker was running. I think it was YMCA by the Village People. He was exiting, which is a weird one, but YMCA stands for Young Men's Club of America. I ran that number, and that matched with. Geez, let me look it up real fast because I had it. Young Men's Club of America matched with presidential election and the date that they had the rally, Saturday, September 25th. So there was
interesting.
It was a double match in full reduction. All three of the same reverse full reduction, and it was kind of a jumbled match in the reverse ordinal. But
okay.
Also, let me throw in that Herschel Walker has a 4-cipher overlap with state of Georgia, and then the New Jersey Generals has a 4-cipher overlap with Tuesday, November 5th. That's the date of the presidential election, and Tuesday, November 8th. That's the date at Herschel Walker's election.
Okay, interesting. That's when Trump got elected in 2016. Well, the election was on November 8th. They called it for him November 9th.
Election. Yeah, was that the same date?
The election was November 8th in 2016, and then they called it for him on November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall 45, presidential elect number 45 running on a wall. Well, let's let a few more people get on because we got a lot of people online tonight.
All right, guys, have a good night.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
All right, Decoding with Cody's back. What's up, Decoding with Cody?
Hey, Zach, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to share a document again in the StreamYard chat for you.
Okay.
This is a huge find. I really believe there's going to be a cyber power grid issue somewhere in the world on 4/3, or maybe a couple days after that, possibly.
Okay.
So
93rd day of the year.
So if you could pull up that document, I'll run through it here.
Oh, I see. You put it in the chat. Okay. All right, let me get it up here 1 second. Okay, almost. Okay, it's up.
All right. So you can notice, well, the first thing I want to say here is that I noticed that The Walking Dead names their episodes. And I noticed that last week, the name of their episode was tying in with all the events that are going on right now. Like it was tied in with the NCAA March Madness event. It was tied in with Skull and Bones Day. It was tied in with St. Patrick's Day. So I just waited for the next name of the episode for next week's episode, which happens to be airing on 4/3, which is the same day WrestleMania 38 is taking place. Okay, so if you see in my document here, the name of the episode that's airing on 4/3 is called Trust. And Trust is a direct match to Zeus. And we all know that Arnold Schwarzenegger played Zeus knocking out the power during the Super Bowl. In my other videos and documents, I've been pointing out how Arnold is clearly tied to the Georgia Guidestones and clearly tied to the Nazi Party and the World Economic Forum. But notice also that the episode called Trust is the 168th episode of The Walking Dead. Electricity is 168. Also notice that the girl who's directing this episode is her name is Lily Marlia. Her name is a direct match with Electricity, 129 and 57. And if you scroll down just a tad there.
Okay.
So you could see that World Economic Forum. If you type in The Walking Dead and then you put the name of the episode Trust, you're going to get 222, just like World Economic Forum, just like Elbert County, Georgia, where the Georgia Guidestones are located. Now, also, you're going to see the 291s there. And obviously, that's an anagram of the 129, electricity 129. Remember, the last a simulation of a cyber attack was on 12/9, 129. And if you measure from that date of the simulation to 4/3, it's 115 days, which is this is the key, right?
What simulation was that on December 9th?
It was the Israel simulation.
Okay.
It was called Collective Strength.
Okay, I remember now. Yeah.
And we know why they did it on 12/9 because electricity equals 129. So, but if you go all the way to 4/3, you're going to get 115 days. And this was the kicker, because April 3rd equals 115, and so does Power Grid, 115. Now, that was, to me, that was the clear evidence that they're going to do something on this day. Now, also notice that the 291, if you go back 222 days, just like World Economic Forum equals 222, you're going to get 8/24/2021. That is the day that Charles Robert Watts, the drummer for the Rolling Stones, died. Obvious ritual with electricity. And so
again, the part people need to know about that is that season of 911, it was about the power grid going down in LA, and for the music they were playing the Rolling Stones for the preview for that, and it was like all around the same time that Robert Watts died, and that was shortly after the Valentine's blackout where J.J. Watt wanted out of town along with Deshaun Watson, and of course Watts are energy, so they were doing a lot of stuff with that. And okay, so I'm following.
And so notice also that his full name equals 115, just like Power Grid, just like April 3rd. And if you look, his other cipher, his name equals 259. Well, that's 259, which is September 25th, which is the day that What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down released.
Right. Okay.
And if you go back to that date that they released that album, that's 555 days.
Huh. Okay. And
notice that Charlie Watts, if you just type his first and last name, or the name that he was known by, it equals 49. And that date has 49 date numerology. 4 + 3 + 20 + 22.
Okay.
And it's going to get even more interesting, because I found this more interesting because we just had another drummer die in the rock scene. And they're telling us that it's coming. They're telling us that it's coming with this other death. So now let's talk about WrestleMania 38, because it's also clearly tied to this. On the same day that the Walking Dead episode is airing, we have Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania. Notice that the Walking Dead, April 3rd, Roman Reigns, and Power Grid are all 61. Okay, so Roman Reigns is clearly tied to the Power Grid, and not only that, Brock Lesnar is tied to this, because notice that he is a 118, just like Paint It Black, and just like March Madness, which will be ending the day after that. Also notice that Cyber Pandemic is 118. And don't overlook the Chaldean cipher, because in the Chaldean cipher, Roman Reigns equals 38, and Power Grid equals 38, and Charlie Watts equals 38, just like it's WrestleMania 38. Now, another event you want to measure from is the Cyber Polygon on 7/9. If you go back that amount of days, this is another clear clue. It's 269 days, and that's the 57th prime. And again, electricity equals 57. So now we're going to move on. Well, and there's another date I measured from too. This is the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack that happened last year. That was on 5/6. That was the day it started. And that's 333 days. So now we're going to talk about the drummer that just died, Taylor Hawkins, because, Charlie Watts died, and now we have another drummer that's dead, and he died in a clear ritual. I mean, if you watch my last video on my channel, I showed how Dave Grohl just came out with a song. Well, I guess he just came out with a song on the same day that this guy died. And it's with his new band. It's Dave Grohl's playing all the instruments on the album except for one guy's playing with him. You'll never guess what the guy's name is. His name is Oliver Roman. So the guy's name that died, Oliver Taylor Hawkins, is Oliver. Also, we had another Oliver that died recently, Scott Oliver Hall of the New World Order, WWE. So again, wrestling is tied with this. The wrestling is so clear, guys. More people need to be decoding wrestling because it's so easy to see the rituals. And so anyways, Dave Grohl released a song called Dream Widow with his new band. It equals 115, just like Power Grid. Okay, and also the guy that plays with him on that album, Oliver Roman, just like Roman Reigns, Oliver Roman, they both equal 61. Again, just like Power Grid, just like Roman Reigns, just like Charlie Watts.
The word energy is also 38. Again, when the whole thing with Ukraine kicked off, they said energy prices spiked 3.8%. And then Germany, which is 38, cut off their pipeline. And again, I mean, for people out there, you know, there's been a lot of warnings in the last decade about the next 9/11 being the power grid going down. The first was in 2013 by Janet Napolitano. She left DHS. And then lately, you've had Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum doing all these simulations saying that there's going to be a cyber attack that's going to impact the world even more severely than COVID did. And of course, that's the same guy who simulated the coronavirus pandemic before it happened. So interesting. All right. Well, yeah, April 3rd, 93rd day of the year. That we know the gang likes 93. They do a lot of big rituals with that number. So we'll see. We'll see. Very interesting. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right. For some reason, I don't hear Decoding with Cody, but let's get young Ben on here. What's up, Ben?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. I was just looking at golf a little bit today. I hadn't really been following it, but they had their own their own, 64, different teams. I get in their case it's just individual players bracket going on with the match play this week. So
Big Al told me he had a field day the other day with 2-0-1 in match play. He just picked everyone that could become 2-0-1 for the day, and every single one of them hit. So,
well, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't really follow it, but I noticed the winner was Scotty Scheffler, and apparently he's been. I didn't even realize this because I haven't been following, but it's like his third win in the last 7 weeks, and now he's number one in the world just out of nowhere. And well, not out of nowhere. I mean, people knew who he was. Like I've known who he was for a few years, but he hadn't won at all until it's like 6 or 7 weeks ago, and now he's won 3 times. And he's from New Jersey, and he won this tournament. And the tournament started the day after that St. Peter's basketball guy died. And Scotty Scheffler equals 74. And the guy died at age 74.
Sure.
And then, St. Peter's goes to the Elite Eight. And then, they lost today, but the golfer from New Jersey won. So I guess it's kind of like a trade-off.
Right.
Yeah. And by the way, he in the final, he beat a golfer from South Carolina, whereas the New Jersey St. Peter's lost to North Carolina today. And I think there's, I don't know, a little bit of duality there. The New Jersey beats Carolina, but then Carolina beats Jersey in basketball. Sure. And also the guy who we talked, I think Tom Young or something Young, who died at age 89 that I called in about last week. 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number, and Kansas won in a big 11 ritual today, as you just discussed. So I thought there might have been something there, even though he wasn't associated with Kansas, just numbers wise. I thought that was interesting because they get their 11th win against Miami, and or Miami picked up their 11th loss of the year or something like that.
So today Miami fell to 11-11 all time in the tournament. and they got their 11th loss of the season. And the ACC as a conference, well, until North Carolina won, but the ACC was stuck on 11 wins in the tournament when they went down to Kansas. Kansas is number 11. I also noticed number 11, when he made his last three-pointer, they put up a stat that was his 200th career three-pointer. So number 11, Remy Martin for Kansas. I guess his next three-pointer is going to be 201. So we'll want to pay attention to that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the other thing I noticed too, Scheffler alone equals 82, like how the New Jersey basketball team lost to create an 8 seed versus a 2 seed in the Final Four.
Right.
And it also equals 46, and the golfer he beat, Kevin Kisner, is born on the 46th day of the year, the guy from Carolina. And Scotty, it equals 28, which is the other 82 reflection. So I definitely think that the guy, not only was he sacrificed for St. Peter's to advance the Elite Eight, looks like he might have been sacrificed for Scotty Scheffler also.
Sure. On 322. Now that reminds me that the first ever Masters was on March 22nd. So maybe that's something to think about.
Yeah. I think I saw a stat. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there's only been a handful of golfers over the years that have won 3 times in a season before the Masters even started.
Huh.
No, I think Dustin Johnson was the last to do it in 2017, and I know Tiger Woods has probably done it a million times, but outside of Tiger Woods, it's pretty rare for that to happen.
Sure.
So yeah, especially with the golfers who've never won at all prior to doing that, and I don't know if there's I don't know if any of them have actually gone on to win the Masters, but yeah, definitely someone to look out for because they're playing up. Now he's number 1 in the world. So
interesting. Scotty Scheffler. I know on Jordan's birthday, they had Jordan Spieth and Scotty Scheffler up at the top of the leaderboard all day.
Yeah, like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Right. So
yeah. And we're coming up on Scottie Pippen's son's death too, the 1-year anniversary.
His son died on the first day of Taurus the Bull. So yeah,
at age 33 when Pippen wore 33.
Well, remember the Bulls' record was 23 and 33 when he died. Like Jordan 23 and Pippen 33.
Oh yeah, and that's right.
I was laughing at the guy on Miami. The fact that his name is Mick Gusty, when Gusty means windy, and he was playing really well in Chicago, the Windy City, in the game against the Hurricanes and the Cyclones, and he's wearing number 23 like Jordan. And there's a part of me that always wonders, like, how many of these guys' fathers are actually former NBA players? Like, who has the name McGusty?
Yeah.
And playing for the Hurricanes, like Wind, Gusty, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of Jordan's long lost children. So
yeah, another thing I was thinking about too was, there's some of the names of these schools, and like, not that their names themselves are weird in like the general context of the world, but like some of them are, plus context from other things. Like last year was like Oral Roberts, which made for some good memes.
In the time of the mask, in the time of Fauci.
Yeah, Oral in the time of the mask, but also, Oral has a pornographic background to it. And this year it was St. Peter's, and we know Peter has another context to it also.
Sure.
And of course, St. Peter's. And
if you look at a basketball court and you look at the key, I mean, it kind of looks like a dick. And then you think about like who's one of the biggest names associated with college basketball. Here, get Ben, 5 names really associated with college basketball. Can you think of a dick?
I'm sorry, I'm not.
I think he's from New Jersey. I think he went to Seton Hall, Ben. He's in your neck of the woods. He has that big, obnoxious voice. He's getting old now.
I don't know, man. I haven't really been following college basketball
Dick
for too long.
Vitale, man. Dick Vitale.
Oh, Dick Vitale. Yeah, you're right. That's right. I mean, the guy who's the bracket they always make fun of. Yeah.
Well, I think the trade-off with him was, what's funny is Seton Hall, his old school, played 83 days before his 83rd birthday and got eliminated by TCU right after the bus crash ritual with the Christian school in Texas.
Yeah,
but,
and
I think the
Shaheen Holloway went to Seton Hall.
Exactly. I think that's the trade-off. Seton Hall goes down to the opening round, and then the other New Jersey school, the Jesuit program, St. Peter's, goes to the Elite Eight. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about, you know, I should have known that. You know what's funny is my grandfather actually went to St. Peter's way back in the day, and my dad's best friend growing up went to Seton Hall. So, yeah, so I was actually. I'm sure there were a lot of people in the nation that didn't even know what St. Peter's was before this tournament started, but I knew what it was. Oh,
the name of their school in Latin equals 150, and it was their 150th year. This magical year is the 15 seed. So,
yep. In Soviet Union, where St. Petersburg was the capital, used to be 15 states.
Yep.
And all that.
And Shaheen Holloway just happens to have the same birthday as Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
Did you see him interviewed before the game today?
Shaheen Holloway?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
His interview pretty much told you that he'd seen the script and he knew that the run was over. They asked him, like, what do you think your chances are today? And he's like, well, I mean, we're just really happy about how far we got, and it's just been like a dream. I was like, no, it doesn't sound like he thinks he's going too much further. He's just happy with how far they got already. So
yeah, I mean, I was at work when the game started. I didn't see it on TV until the end, but I was like looking it up throughout the while I had some breaks, and was like looking at the tweets, and I kept seeing St. Peter's was missing a bunch of layup shots, and there was a bunch of ticky-tacky fouls being called against them. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. But at the same time, if it wasn't scripted, they wouldn't have come anywhere near this far. Exactly. Because I mean, I saw stat like I was out, during the Purdue game also, and I kept seeing like the 6-foot guy on St. Peter's had just as many rebounds as the 7'4" guy on Purdue, and I'm like, how's this even possible? I mean, the Purdue guy could shrink 7 inches and still be nowhere near.
Indeed. They overstate how tall the St. Peter's players are too when they put up their stats on the screen. They're tiny compared to the other guys. Yeah. What was it that happened? Oh yeah, I was laughing because one of my notes for the game about UNC was that it's 38 days after Jordan's birthday today, and UNC's 38, and up at halftime they were up 38-19, 38 days after Michael Jordan's birthday. So UNC 38.
Yeah, UNC 30. I saw that too. I was like, yeah, I think I had to do the math in my head, but I was like, yeah, UNC's 38. Yeah. And then it was like 38-19. But yeah, I just kept thinking, I was just thinking about like it's just so fitting that there's a Jesuit school named St. Peter's in regards to, what Peter can also
Peter, the first pope, the biggest statue at the Vatican, that pine cone. And then as Rambo pointed out on Wednesday night, I never realized that about the pine cone before, but there's 2 peacocks at the base of it. So
yeah. Oh yeah. And peacock. I mean, really?
Right. Yeah. Another cock. Yeah. Another dick joke. Yeah. They love their dick jokes.
Cock and Peter, and before the cock crows twice is part of the passion. I mean,
I like that Duke has a player named Roach.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, these names are just ridiculous. It's like, but one thing I honestly have wondered about, I mean, there's no doubt they are doing it. I mean, you can see it in the way they play. You can see it with the numbers and everything. But something I just get hung up on, like just thinking about it, like, when I'm not seeing how ridiculous the games are being played out is, I'm just thinking like, how did they do it as far as like having everyone, like I can understand like the bigger schools, like, UNC, Purdue, the ones that are always there, but like the smaller schools, like the ones where like most of the team is like, like locally recruited, that's supposed to be one of the smaller schools. It's like how did they get everybody in on it? Like I
don't know if all the players are in on it, because it's the coaches and the refs and a few key players. I mean, it's just so obvious. Like if you watch Michigan's last game, their big man Dickinson, who's good, he forgot how to have any touch around the basket. He's not even trying to put the ball in the hoop. It's just so obvious. Same thing with Timmy on Gonzaga. He forgot how to play around the hoop. He can't put the ball in the basket anymore. And I mean, these guys are automatic in the paint. I mean, these are some of the smoothest big men there are. I mean, the Arizona guy, he gets made the villain because he touched the cheerleader's boob at the end of the TCU game, and then he doesn't even show up against Arkansas. I mean, you can see that it only takes the key players on the team to not show up to make all the difference, especially when the refs are blowing the whistle against you. The first half of the Kansas-Miami game today, the big man on Kansas, Miami has no answer for that guy. And right at the beginning of the game, he puts the ball in the hoop, and there was no foul at all, and the ref just blows a charge, and there was no charging there. If anything, there was a terrible flop. But you can just see those are the kind of things the refs do to keep the game interesting. Now the big man has a foul on him early. He has to play extra careful under the, on the offensive end and the defensive end. That's a big advantage right there. And again, he took points off the board and now put the big man in a bad spot. So, I mean, that's the way they manipulate the game, just phantom calls.
Yeah. And magnets.
And the technology, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that Houston team can't shoot for shit, but they had everything going on in against Arizona, and then they shoot 1 for 20 against Villanova from beyond the arc. So,
yeah, that's the other thing. I was like, what? These people forget how to score or something? I know Houston's supposed to have a good defense, but come on, 50-44.
Right.
One of the best teams in the country,
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
We got a D26 who joined us. Let's let D26 go on. I know college basketball is not D26's thing, but I'm sure he'll have something brilliant. Are you there, D26?
Yeah, I'm there.
Welcome back.
Just hold on. Hello.
Welcome back. Came with the beanie today. All right.
So, yeah, I'm not into US sports, but I was talking about if anyone decodes about international cricket. Because a lot of cricket fans in South Asia, I would say, apparently, is the most celebrated sport at least in my country and the neighboring countries. And I did some decoding on that. Let me just find out. And all right, cricket equals Illuminati in 3 out of 4 base ciphers with 69, 120, and 48. It's a bat and ball game, so you can say cricket. You can count baseball into it. You can count golf into this.
In case you didn't know, I'll tell you this, D26, in case you didn't know this. Cricket is the first professional sports league in the United States of America, if you didn't know that. The very first professional sports league was cricket. The league folded, but baseball is what came out of cricket. So, I mean,
yeah,
baseball...
I just wanted to, that was confused. I was going to ask, that was my follow-up question. I thought it was baseball before cricket. So you mean to say baseball derived from cricket?
Exactly. Baseball came out of cricket, and cricket's actually the oldest professional. It was the first professional sports league in the United States of America, cricket.
So that does make sense. If it could be the possibility that baseball was created by the Jesuits, because it is in the shape of a triangle, if you see it from the top.
Sure.
And coming back to the cricket, also cricket, the origin of cricket is unknown, but it is said that it originated somewhere in the 16th century. what a timeline. In southeast London, I would say. A place that is southeast of London, somewhere there. It's called Surrey. And so again, it comes in the category of a bat and ball game. So there is a bat and there's a wooden bat and there's a leather ball. So bat and ball equals 201, 69, 66, and 224 in the 4 base ciphers. Also, the ball, cricket ball, equals 201. And that is made up of leather, that is compressed leather that is wrapped around a core that is made of wooden. If I'm not wrong, it's a cork core, CORK, and leather ball equals 201. The governing body, it is apparently there are 2 governing bodies. One is the International Cricket Council, ICC, who holds the World Cup. They are the ones who are overlooking the World Cup matches and international matches. But the laws, so this is one of the few sports, cricket is one of the few sports that does not calls its rules. It does not have rules and regulations. Rather than they prefer the word as laws, and those are based. Let me check that. It's they are called as laws, and it is based from a club that was founded in 1787 in London called Marylebone Cricket Club, and in 1788 they established some laws into this. And uh, how interesting is that they have 42 laws, 42 like Jesuit, 42 like cricket ball, and um, I do have like I haven't arranged it. That's the thing. I haven't arranged it. Anyways, the first chairman of ICC. Before it was headed by a president, but then it just became an honorary post. So the executive, or the one which is more of a governing post, is now the chairman. And the first chairman of ICC was an Indian. His name was Narayanaswamy Srinivasan. Anyways, any Indian can say that from the name. It's a South Indian name. So that's a good that's a plus point in India. You can just pretty much guess where the person is from with its surname. In most cases, not in every case. So, well, he's a Jesuit trained, by the way, first of all, and his full name equals 266, 95, and 157. 157 is the 37th prime. I'm trying to get what's the meaning with the 137 and 157 over here. But his first name equals 666 in reverse satanic. So that was a unique thing that I found, at 666 in one of the satanic ciphers. By the way, I follow overall. I go with the 4-base ciphers as well as Jewish and primes. Those are the two ciphers that I look. So there are 6 ciphers. But overall, if I want to look to more ciphers, I have made a list of 16 ciphers. I don't look them all the way all the time, but sometimes I would just go with that if I'm doing a long decode on that. And those ciphers will be obviously the 4-base ciphers. Then I will have single reduction forwards and backwards, satanic forwards and backwards, Jewish cipher, Jewish ordinal. Then I'll have Sumerian forwards and backwards, English Sumerian forwards and backwards. I'll have primes, which is what I encourage people to look into that, because I did find some interesting things with the primes. As I said, last times I've repeatedly said about this thing that Italian equals 201, which is where the Vatican comes in the Italy. Then Israel equals 201 in the Italian in the primes cipher. And the other 3 ciphers will be. I'm looking into Fibonacci as well, and there are some interesting decodes into that. It's interesting that I find a lot of rep-digit numbers in Fibonacci. And when I'm decoding anything that is particularly in India, then I'll look into Chaldean, because apparently, according to some articles, Chaldean is used by Indian numerologists because it's said that is one of the oldest ciphers. I had to look into that if it's true or not. I'm not sure if that statement is authentic. But yeah, some people, a lot of numerologists in India use the Chaldean cipher. But if I can say from the scriptures or in the ancient text, something that is more credible than numerology, at least in my culture, will be astrology. That is much more accurate and much more to the point. It's more accurate rather than numerology. Coming to other stuff, like I have just made points what I'm going to speak today. The Jesuit order equals 201. That is, like most people, everyone knows who is following this channel. But the Freemasonic order also equals 201 and 102. Like the Freemasons. I see there is a lot of Freemasons influence in India, I would say, particularly. By the way, in India, Jesuit missions are in India. By the way, do you know Francis Xavier? His ventures in India and as well as in East Asia, in Japan and China.
Right, he went into China early. Indeed.
I don't remember when did he went to China. As in which year was it? I
It,
guess
it
it would
was
be.
shortly after the Jesuits were created. So
So I guess it would be probably before he came to India, I would say. um, so I don't know, but yeah, he's most credited with his his missionary work in India, and there's a lot of Xavier schools and colleges over here. As I have said this in my TFR called the richest Indian, who is also the richest Asian. He's a Jesuit trained in Mumbai itself in the Xavier College, the same college where Obama showed up in 2016, I guess, or 2014. So, um, regarding that, I was making a point with the Indian chairman of the ICC. Uh, Anyways, I was doing some decode with the Sir Don Bradman, who is by far. Have you heard about that name by any chance?
I don't
Sir
think so.
Don. So Sir Don Bradman, any Australian would probably know this name. Know this name that he's considered, at least by many, that he's by far the greatest cricketer in the history of sports. In the history of, I would say, any bat and ball game because of his outstanding average. I would say he had a batting average of 99.94. I can't explain it that because I pretty much it's been more than a decade since I used to play cricket. But it's related to the average with the how many games he played and how many runs he scored. Runs is something you hit with the bat, you score a run. Uh, then talking about that, okay, I was just made a point with that. I was like, what I was making, okay, this is a appeal to anyone since like myself, since I was not into sports. The only sports I have played personally the most will be soccer, which is European football or soccer as it's said in United States. Um, I haven't done started decoding on that, but I started decoding cricket because I used to play cricket when I was a 10-year old. So um, anything that if you have any sport which anyone has not played and they are starting to decode into that, just go to the Wikipedia page of that game and note down the keywords that are related to that game. So if you go to the cricket page of um, hold on. If you go to the cricket page of the Wikipedia page, you will find that words like bowler, wicket, there's a pitch, there's a field. So if you decode those words, you will find that words like pitch equals 56. Word like bowl equals 56. How the game of cricket was launched as in released. Sorry, not released. Because I was watching a movie. That's why yesterday about cricket. So words like 16th, cricket originated apparently in the 16th century. So if you write the word 16th, that equals 56 in single reduction. And headquarters equals 56. Its headquarters are based in, where was that? In Dubai, United Arab Emirates, from 2005 onwards. Before that, it was in England, obviously. They have the world's largest stadium, Lords. Talking about world's largest stadium, India's largest stadium is in Kolkata, the place where Francis Xavier had a strong, touchdown. That place has a lot of history. Kolkata is the capital of Bengal, and it has an old name. So Kolkata is the new one. Zach, hold on that. Do you see that stadium on the right side, Eden Gardens? That is India's largest stadium, second largest because just recently in 2020 they had the largest capacity of stadium, over 100,000 people. But Eden Gardens was for the longest time it was the largest stadium, and if you write that, that equals 201. By the way, Eden Gardens, Garden of Eden, the story of Satan, the story of the apple, and interesting, it is 158 years old right now. because India's independence is 15/8, 15th of August, the Jesuit birthday. It also has the capacity of 68. I guess cricket, no, not cricket. Sports equals 68, or team sport equals 68. Sport equals 47. Team sport equals, okay, 53. Sorry. So that was my point. That try decoding about certain words that are used as a vocabulary in terms of that, in terms of any sport which you are decoding. As I said, one ball, BOWL, that equals 56. If you throw one ball, that is considered as one delivery of a ball, and if you make 6 certain legal deliveries, that completes as 1 over. There are 2 types of World Cups: T20 World Cups, where there are 20 overs, and ICC, International Cricket Council, ICC World Cup, which has 50 overs, and overs equals 56. The batting side, there's a fielding side and there's a batting side. That equals batting side equals 56 in single reduction. When a person is dismissed, as in, let's say, a batsman hits a ball and one of the fielder catches the ball, or the wicket he's stumped out, as in the wickets has touched down. The ball has touched the wickets, which are the 3 stumps behind the batsman. That person is declared as out. So out equals 56. And there's a lot of 156 as well. So yeah, that will be that's it for me, because there's a long decode. I haven't arranged it properly. Coming to other things, the Jesuit missions in India with Francis Xavier. Have you ever heard that, or have you read about this, that Francis Xavier, actually, at least you can agree that he was the right hand of Ignatius. He was the second most important Jesuit after Ignatius.
Yes.
So Ignatius had written a letter to him. I don't know which year. I have to look into that letter. Let's see that on the. Okay, I get it. I don't know which year, but it is. But Ignatius had written a letter to Francis Xavier about, before his journey to Asia, Southeast Asia, as well as East Asia, that I don't remember the exact phrase in Latin, et o flamite, something like that. But it translates to "go set the world on fire."
Yeah.
I'm decoding to that, but I haven't go set the world on fire. I haven't found anything much right now. It equals 112 in single reduction. That is Catholicism mathematics. It also equals 95 with the rules of numerology in forwards and backwards. 103 and 95. Rated and let's see, recognized the day leaving 95 days left in the year. And also, according to a census, this is on the Jesuits Wikipedia page, that there's a table on the right hand side. According to the census of 2013, most number of Jesuits are present in South Asia, by the way. So that would be, there are more Jesuits in South Asia than Americas. I need to verify that. I haven't found any credible source of this. That, in my opinion, there should be the highest number should be in Europe, followed by America, and then third should be Asia. But I don't know. According to 2013 census, it says otherwise. By the way, Zach, I will just type this in the chat real quick. Just take a look at that. I want to see your reaction live.
Oh yeah, if you put it, that's funny with the mister in front. Perfect.
I never thought about this. That was an accidental discovery, I would say.
You are the master of finding 201s. I've never seen anybody rack up more 201s quickly. But Ben's really good at it too. But man, you are compiling quite the list. So
also, I have said this in the last stream, that if you write Derek's calculator, if you write Gematria, if you have bookmarked that page, On the top, it will be written as, let me just go word to word what it's written. It will be written as the web's best gematria calculator hyphen gematrinator.com. If you write the entire thing, that also equals 201. So I will have to need to say, if Derek is watching, let me know if that was an Easter egg of some kind. So I found it. That will be satisfaction. Even truth frequency equals 201. That is a old thing. A lot of people have told me in the past about that. Okay, that's done with Xavier right now. I'll be very quick with the other things. There's a lot of decodes with James Earl Carter, as in, if anyone remembers that name, that is full name of Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, who is still alive. And you did take a decode on when President Biden met Jimmy Carter before his election or after his, soon after his elections. And I was decoding at that time that what was that? James Earl Carter, his name equals 149, and 149. I've talked about this last time also, that it is the date when Gates Senior passed away in 2020, 14th of September, and 149 is 201 in base 12 counting.
Right.
201 in base 12 counting will be 149, and 289 in base 12 counting will be 201. So 289 and 149. 28th of September or 14th of September. 20th of September, there's a good story with 20th of September. Let me find that. But there's a good, interesting story with 1918 pandemic. Let me find that in 1918. I don't want to mess up.
That's Spanish flu, 1918.
What's the page called? Spanish flu. Okay, Spanish flu. There's this thing that in America, the day when the cases burst open, as in it increased exponentially, was 28th of September, and 28th September 28. Okay, September 28th. So there is also a report by the then U.S. Surgeon General Rupert Blue about the Spanish influenza. He said he named it as the document was named as Spanish flu, 3-day fever, the flu. I haven't decoded on the flu. I'm just going to do it right now. It equals 27 like ritual, but 3 equals 56 and 79. And by the way, third, if you write in ordinal and cardinal, 3 and third, 3 equals 56 and 79. Third equals 201 in Jewish cipher.
Just to make sure I got it right, did you say 201 is 289 in base 12 counting?
Reverse of that. 289 in base 12 is 201.
Ah,
201 in base 12 is 149.
I see.
So it's a reverse. In base 8, the number increases than what it was. And base 12, the number decreases what it was.
I see. D26, we've had 2 more people join the stream. I'd love for you to go on the whole time. All your stuff's brilliant, but just to let them in as well.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll just need to. Let me check if I can end with something and then come back later.
Yeah.
This one, I would say, for now, I would say, what according to you? I've talked about this with Truth Does Not Exist. I went on a live stream with him last week. What according to both of you would be the most celebrated comic character in the United States, or I would say in the Americas? What
most celebrated character person?
Comic character, I would say.
Oh,
superhero
comic character.
In my opinion, that is. I would just write it down.
I would say based on how many movies they've made about him at this point, I'd say it's Batman.
Okay, Ben, what do you say?
Ben, you there?
You're sorry. Oh, I didn't say anything. I just wrote in the chat that it was funny. My internet disconnected for like 5 seconds, and when I reconnected, D26 was talking about Jimmy Carter. and I was in the middle of a Jimmy
Oh,
Carter
okay.
decode in the background. And it was just weird how it synced up like that. And I'm actually glad that he mentioned that his full name, James Earl Carter, because I found a 120 in my decode, and then I typed it in, and James Earl Carter Jr. is 120. I was looking at the when Jimmy Carter. I was looking at when Jimmy Carter boycotted the 1980 Olympics because yeah, and there was like a 120. He did it 120 days before the Olympics started, but I didn't see a 120. But James Earl Carter Jr. is 120, so that's what it is. So that's what it was.
That name also
Illuminati's 120 and Bavarian Illuminati's 1980. But Ben, what he was asking you is, who do you think is what do you think is the most celebrated comic book character in America? I guessed Batman, not to influence you, but I have a feeling that's the wrong answer. What do you think it is?
Spider-Man's a good one.
Okay, that's a common thing because I wrote Spider-Man in the chat. Do you know what is the full name of Spider-Man by any chance?
I don't.
Peter Parker?
Yeah, but Peter Benjamin Parker is his full name.
Oh.
And Benjamin is not his biological father. It is Richard Parker, his biological father. If you know the story, he lives with his dad's brother and his aunt. Uncle Ben and Aunt May. That's a very common name. Everyone knows that. So Peter Benjamin Parker equals 201. I did not say this coming either. So yeah,
is that the most popular comic book character, Spider-Man? That's the most popular?
In my, as far as I have grown up, I would say I was born in 2001, so I have been voiced. I was showered.
Spider-Man's always been popular. Yeah, that's probably true. Okay.
In so many movies, I would say, since my childhood. So I would say that I would say right now. I'll go on later because I will have to connect 4 or 5 things. But I will just let others join right now.
Okay.
I'll see. Okay. I'll wait in the background. Come back later. When
perfect. We'll be back to you, D26. We got a new face here, Matthew Bentley, and we also have DK Stonewood back. Since Matthew Bentley's a new face, I'm going to let him say hello first. Thanks for chiming in tonight.
Yeah, man, this is awesome, dude. I want to say thank you for your hard work here from Canada, just in the 613 region in Kingston. I am a little bit nervous right now, guys, so my voice sounds a little bit shaky. I apologize. Could be a typical Canadian thing. I don't know. But
you sound good, man. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. Growing up, I remember at a young age. I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. I remember saying to my mom, what if A equals 1 and B equals 2 and things like that, right? You're always told from your parents, don't believe everything on the news, right? My dad always tells me half the time, not that I grew up with him, but, he always told me half the time, back to the basics and stuff like that. And I just feel like the fibers of humanity it's the connect is slowly being moved away. I've been with a great girl now for 7 years. When I moved to Kingston, I grew up in Mississauga for about 25 years near Toronto. Moved to Kingston to, change my life around a little bit. I still smoke weed here and there, but I was into a lot of shit, man. She's helped change my life around for the better and whatnot. And, growing up, you can always feel like things are going wrong with the way, I remember back in 2001, I was in science class, Mr. Traxler's class, and the announcement comes on, and they talked about the Twin Towers being hit. And, at that time, I didn't know shit, man. I was a sports guy. I grew up playing baseball. Looked over at my friend Julian, the guy from the 705 region that called in a few times the past couple of weeks. Probably my best friend. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about, man? Right? Slowly over the years, I never really paid attention. He actually paid a lot more attention. He got into an accident with another friend of ours. His name is David Leahy. It was back in 2009, I think it was, on September 27th, which I think you say is the day the Jesuits were born or something like that, or that's the day they started.
They were recognized by Rome, September 27th.
Right. And whatnot. But, yeah, you know, just intuition alone and whatnot, you know, things are going wrong and going sideways. And that's why half the time in the chat, I'm always saying, you know, let's just build together and go and kill these guys. Cause I feel like at the end of the day, that's all they're, you know, really, that's what it's going to come down to, man. That's why I'm always saying I want to snipe these motherfuckers, you know, cause I just know, man, we can talk all day and stuff and it's great. And I love connecting with you guys finally and all this. Like, I'm so built with joy right now, man. I got my Tim Hortons coffee here with me, and
couldn't be more Canadian than that.
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for your hard work and all that stuff. And I'm gonna try my best to continue learning how to decode and stuff, brother. But I'm the one guy on the comments that was saying I don't read too much. I'm a little bit computer literate and all that stuff, but yeah, man, I feel it, you know, and that's what counts to me. You know, my intelligence is there somewhat. So, but yeah,
Ben and Natalie's from Canada. I think she wants to connect.
Yeah, shout out! I grew up in Mississauga, and I went.
Oh,
to
did
Brock
you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's from Mississauga. She went to Brock, and there's like 10 Tim Hortons near her house. Just like how where I live, there's like 10 Dunkin' Donuts around here.
You know, there's always.
Yeah, that's why I showed the Tim Hortons cup. Thought I'd throw a little Canadian
the Tim Hortons
in there.
represent. You know, now I do a Wawa represent, but
yeah. Now Natalie always gets the Wawa commercials on YouTube now. But
yeah, because Dunkin' Donuts is shit coffee. It was like, blech.
You like Wawa better?
Wawa's better.
Yeah.
Stick to the black coffee. I get it regular, just a little milk, a little sugar. That's about it. So.
I always like the Tim Hortons dark roast. That was my favorite one from them.
Yeah. Well, like Zach was saying the other day, you know, like dark coffee and all the beneficiaries from that and whatnot is good. I used to drink black coffee. I got a little bit weak over time and came to some milk and sugar, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, sorry, I was just gonna say, you know, growing up, like I said, I did a lot of shit, and you know, nowadays I keep it pretty clean and try my best to keep up with things. So I work a lot. I do newspapers in the morning, and then like Skip and Uber and whatnot during the daytime. But I'm one of those guys that's like a workaholic in a sense sometimes. So you know,
well, I do
pay them bills, man.
I do DoorDash.
Can you explain what a toque is? Because he did not.
I already know what a toque is. I've called it that.
You called it that as a joke.
You've ingrained it like in my head the same way. I don't know.
I think Zach's got one on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I switch back and forth between bathroom and washroom now.
Yeah, because we call it a washroom. You guys call it a bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I got a good one. Hold on. I'll show my Canuck style.
Where are you going?
My 56.
That's funny. The email underneath of this is from Canuck Eats. That's funny.
Oh my god. You and Natalie are like the same person. Like these Brock, Mississauga, Tim Hortons.
They say there's a doppelganger out there somewhere.
So Natalie was a rebel.
This. Watch that.
Natalie was the rebel.
You got the little thing on top, so that counts a bit
Yeah,
more.
you gotta have this, man. You gotta have the tooth with this little pom-pom on top.
Natalie was the rebel though, because Canadians is 56, and but they're Montreal. Most people in Mississauga are Canadian.
I remember Zach saying that last year. Actually, you didn't put too much thought into it, but I remember you saying, you know, Montreal's got that 56 connect, right? Blah blah blah, and then sure enough, just. You know, Leafs are down or up 3-1, and you see all the emotional investments that people have in sports, like just, oh my God, blah, 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 they're losing it. And a lot of times, you know, Blake Murphy from Sportsnet 590, the fan there in the morning, he actually like gets back to me sometimes, like we talk on Instagram. I've been trying to show him Gematria now for a little while, and sometimes I don't want to get people lost, you know, and like, I'll share like a couple videos that Zach makes here and there, but you know, if you don't mind, Zach, do you mind going over the thing again with the King James when they came back from being down 3-1? Because I love that, man. I remember you said that once, and I was coming home from work in the courier van. I was filling it up with gas, and you were talking. I can't remember his name, but I think his stream got deleted or something. Maybe the Truth Code, or not the Truth Code. It was something else, but. I remember turning it right up while filling up gas. People at the gas station listening, like heads were turning, like, holy shit, what? So if you have time.
Yeah, again, the year that LeBron won the finals for the Cavs, it was the 33rd time in NBA history that a team was down 3-1, and never before had anybody come back. And just first of all, Cleveland equals 33, so does LeBron, so does James. But so that was the first time a team ever came back from being down 3-1 in the NBA. But when they came back and won, they won on the real King James's birthday, June 19th. And again, the real King James's son was King Charles, and the people who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War were called Cavaliers. So you got King James on the Cavaliers winning the championship for that franchise for the first time on the real King James's birthday. And then the other thing that was wild about that's not King James related, but the actor Anton Yelchin died just before that game. That was the breaking news. And he was in the Star Trek movie that had come out around that time. But that guy's birth numerology was 103. And that game where the Cavs won it, that was their 103rd game of the season, which is the 27th prime number. Okay. And LeBron scored 27 points in that game. Like there's 27 books in the Christian part of the Bible. King James has the Bible named after him. And then 27 days after they won it, Nate Thurmond died. And Nate Thurmond played for the Warriors and the Cavs and had the number 42, retired with the Warriors and the Cavs, which is another biblical number. And not to mention LeBron James equals 42. So
I feel like I should have recognized all this growing up, man. I went to Bible camp in Maine, right? My grandma, and all that stuff, into the holy stuff. And I just remember playing Mission Impossible and going to the canteen. But anyway, yeah, you can continue on. Sorry.
Well, that's the extent of it, pretty much. So,
well, Anton Yelchin died at 27 too, and the way he died was like, wasn't it like a ridiculous story? Like, didn't he get run over by a car in his own driveway or something?
They said he didn't set the parking brake on his SUV, and he was walking in front of the car, and it smashed him into the side of his own house and killed him. So
very unlikely.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I'm going to leave the chat here. I'm still going to tune in, but I just want to say thank you for everything, man. And don't stop what you're doing, because you're having at least one person at a time joining the community. And
before
that's
you
all
go,
it takes.
Matthew, some Canadian jokes for you. You got to hear some.
I usually am a bit of a joker and humorous, just because I'm a little bit nervous right now coming on. I'm not really feeling that way, but next time I come on next Sunday, I'll try and bring some jokes to the table. I definitely am that kind of guy.
So, do you know any Newfies? Have you met any Newfies in your life?
Yeah, my whole family is from Marysville in New Brunswick area. My dad is living in Boys Town right now there. So yeah.
All right, so you would like this one. There's a Frenchman, an Italian, and a Newfie. They both get stuck on an island. All three of them get stuck on an island. They all can bring one thing. So an Italian brings an orange because he says
they need some zest.
Well, if I'm hungry, I can eat it. If I'm thirsty, I can drink it. The Frenchman says I can drink the water. I bring water. And then they look at the Newfie. The Newfie brings the car door from the driver's side and says, when it gets hot out, I can just roll down the window.
Nice. I'll bring some next week for you guys. Maybe even a few Jewish jokes, if that's okay.
Oh my God.
I got a lot of those.
Natalie's got a lot of Catholic jokes.
But they will take down the stream. They will really take down the stream.
They'll take down the stream if she says one.
I'm still one of those guys that has a few friends, Indian friends, couple black friends back home, still make the same old jokes I used to make with them growing up. Like I said, all those parts of me haven't changed. I'm turning 33 this year, so I'm kind of up there with you, Zach. I'm getting there. I got some salt and pepper here, so it's coming in. So, but yeah, anyway, guys, I'm going to jam. I'll tune in still. I'm going to go out and do some more skip and appreciate it. So.
All right, Matthew. Thanks for tuning in tonight, man.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Right, take care.
Nice meeting you.
All right. We got to let DK Stonewood in. He's been super patient. Sorry I kept you on hold so long, DK. What's up, man? Uh-oh.
It's probably better that you did. Hopefully I don't have a delay from the rings of Saturn, do I?
You sound okay.
Okay, good. All right. One thing I can say, or a couple things I can say right off the bat from what you guys have just been talking about. I got Villanova. That's the first college that won, right? Villa is a big house, like Casa is a small house or a regular house. Villa is a big house. Nova is new. So new house. House like House of Cards. So new House of Cards, New World Order. Villanova, New World Order. Also, the guy was talking about EMPs. That's a whole nother hoax they've been selling us, scaring us with. What was that movie, Red Dawn or something, where it says EMP and nothing electrical works? Where do we have evidence of that ever happening on planet Earth? Just curious. So we have zero evidence of that ever happening, but they keep, scaring us with it. With the nuclear stuff, I mean, they definitely dropped some bombs. We see flourishing cities now where they tell us that the half-life of this, fuel for these atomic bombs is how many hundreds of years. But Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Chernobyl, all these are flourishing cities. Nobody's walking around with arms growing out of their necks or anything like that. So we got to stick to what's like evidence-based. I would not be fear-mongering any EMPs or anything. They're going to shut down the power grid maybe and claim it was an EMP, but an actual electromagnetic pulse in the sky that shuts it down, where's the evidence of that ever working? Even in the lab, they can't simulate that. So another thing, was it Marilyn Manson that says, "You say God, I say 10"? Is that Marilyn Manson?
That's Marilyn Manson. It came out at the same time, about the exact same time Trump won the election. That came out.
Okay, so recently the corporate gyms have reopened back up with no masks and like full hours, and you don't have to like make appointments. So they're going to be like 5 people in the gym at the time. So I reactivated my corporate 24-hour fitness membership along with my private gym membership. And, they got a bunch of screens in the gym, and like every 4th screen is gym TV. And like in the top corner, it's got the time, and then the weather will cycle through, and it's got the album art of the song that's playing and the artist. And then like 3/4 of the TV will be the advertisements for the gym, for gym TV. And they're marketing this new, it says it's a wheat-based food called Seitan, Seitan. And on the commercial for it says Seitan for breakfast. And I'm like, wait, what? Is this a Marilyn Manson commercial? So I waited for it to cycle back through. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. So the food is spelled Seitan. I've never even heard of it or whatever. But the way it was put on the TV was exactly the way Marilyn Manson said it, Seitan. So I cracked up on that. The guy that was talking about the coffee, and I would like to direct people to a book. I can't remember who wrote it. If it wasn't Stephen Chernisky, but it's called Caffeine Blues. And the cabal's been going all around the world pushing coffee, with the Dutch East India Company and the British East India Company. And, the reason they've been pushing coffee and just caffeinated stuff now with all these fake drinks and everything is because it cuts off all the oxygen to the brain and it puts you in the fight or flight, So if you guys read that book, also, Zach, if you want, you could just pull up a share screen, the caffeine spider. So what they were doing is they were testing spiders, and they would put a little drop of chemical on their whatever chemical they wanted to test on their web, and then see what the spider did after. So they would put
I've shown that before. That's one of my favorite things of all
time. Look at the web, the caffeine spider.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Here, I'll find that.
So
the caffeine web is the most messed up web. Hold up, I'll find that. Yeah.
Just put in the caffeine spider and you'll find it. But yeah, don't be a caffeine spider. Don't, people say it's hard to add up all these numbers and stuff. That's probably because they're partially a caffeine spider. You know what I mean? It's, they got a good heart and they want to do right. They just can't put everything together because, the whole point of everything the cabal's doing is people are chemically lobotomized. We're not, we already have, etheric technology working on our brains to where we can only use 10% of the conscious mind, which is more like 5%. So we're working with 5% of a brain right now. We don't want to make it any worse by putting other, mind disrupting and signal disrupting chemicals in there, like caffeine and stuff like that. Regardless of what they tell us, like the resveratrol and the red wine is good or whatever, it isn't. So these a lot of things we've been sold. I think it's Adam Sandler. He's the main, like, he's the main predictive programming guy to make guys look all weak and stupid and talk like a baby. And, you get paid him $20 million to get up there and talk like a baby. But it's like, knowing like his movies, every single scene has either a coffee cup, coffee, place, or alcohol in it. And in the show Friends, in every scene there was a coffee cup. So coffee's been the most. If you just watch what's going on with the sound off, coffee is the most in all the TV programming. It's the most thing shown as far as predictive programming to the subconscious, because the subconscious is picking up everything. It does like 3 million or something inputs per second, where your conscious mind is doing like 8. So it's picking all this stuff up and storing it, and it's a pattern recognition machine. So when it sees that, wait a minute, there's a coffee cup or coffee, or drinking coffee in every scene, it starts thinking, okay, safety in the group has to do with drinking coffee. And all of a sudden you're drinking coffee. You don't even realize why you're drinking coffee. So This is a lot of the programming, how the programming actually works.
This experiment is old. It's decades ago that they did this. It's been out there for a while. I've actually shown this many times, but the first time I saw this was in high school. My science teacher, Mr. Sigfrid, he showed us this, and I remember at the time it blew my mind. I was like, "Wow, man, they're doing a lot of commercials to say don't smoke weed, but maybe we need one for don't drink coffee." But I like how the marijuana web, there's like a section there where he just like forgot to complete the circle. It's like that lapse when you're high. He's like, wait, what was I just thinking a second ago? So
exactly. I always laugh at that one. Like, it has creativity and still has some geometric shapes, but it looks like he got a little sidetracked a couple times.
Exactly. It's almost all there, but there's that one part where he had his lapse. Like, wait a minute, what was I just doing? So
he took a bong rip for a second right there and forgot to spin that part of the web.
Indeed. So
yeah.
Okay. Hey, by the way, Jonathan, if you're out there, I just saw you.
I got a bunch of stuff.
I just sent a message out to Jonathan. Jonathan requested an invite. I just sent the invite, Jonathan. I'm not sure how long ago you sent the email, but the invite's out there. Go ahead, friend. You're back on.
Perfect. I want to tell Jonathan something when he comes on.
Okay.
I got a whole thing on health. I don't know if you even wanted me to get started on that. That's what we kind of talk about on TFR, but I'll just do that whenever you say, like, let's talk about the health thing and the tinnitus.
Go for it.
You want me to go for it now?
Sure.
Okay. One thing you guys been talking about, the salt and pepper and the beard and the hair. There's a Chinese herb that we're all deficient in. It's called Heshou, HESHOUWU. They also call it Foti, like FOTI, and in Chinese it means long black hair. It'll keep your hair from turning gray. So just look into that Chinese herb supplement, Heshou. As far as like this tinnitus thing goes, it's heavily linked to EMF poisoning. So, like, let's identify what is tinnitus. Tinnitus in Latin means ringing. So the whole condition of tinnitus, to be clear, is hearing a sound when there's no sound present. That's the actual condition. Is it an actual problem of the ear? No, it isn't. It's actually a nervous condition. So inside your ear has like a bunch of strings with little hairs on it, like feelers like a very advanced piano. If you open the back of a piano and somebody's playing it and you see all the strings moving, that's how your ear works as well. I think they're called alveoli or something, the little hairs in there. And they're all tuned to a specific frequency. So when that frequency is present, it'll trigger that specific hair, which then travels down the line into the auditory cortex and specifically into the 8th cranial nerve. And what that does is it takes it from the sound vibration and transliterates it over to electrical signal for your brain to decode. And then it's working on pre-remembered patterns that we call language and stuff. So the actual ringing is coming from this 8th cranial nerve being basically shorted out, or it's getting feedback because it's a nerve, and the whole rest of your body's nervous system is shorted out because you're not grounded well, and it's causing a feedback. So that's what gives you the ringing. There's nothing actually happening in your actual ear as far as your ear's ability to hear sound or anything like that. It's the mechanism that's changing it over from sound to electronic for your brain. So that's the actual condition of what it is. Now, there's a protocol a doctor developed. We can go through it. I'll turn my camera on. It takes like 20 seconds, 30 seconds to try to reset that eighth cranial nerve by tapping on another spot on your head. But let me get into like some of the stuff that's causing like tinnitus. People have Wi-Fi on in their house even while they sleep, and my friend has a website called WiFiDangers.com. It's pretty good. It makes you fat. It makes your body retain, makes cortisol go up. So it makes your body like store fat, retain water, gives you insomnia, messes with your circadian rhythms, lower your sperm count, lower your egg count, eventually make you infertile. By the way, when they put these, like, you got like iPads, right? They put the slot antenna on the bottom, so it's like right on the kid's genitals. And if you go like to Cupertino, California, where Apple headquarters is, the headquarters is like a little city. It's not just like a building. And within Apple headquarters, the landscape architecture, which of course it's not just like they go down the street and say, oh, let's get some architect and, get them. This is billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars this Apple headquarters would cost. So obviously they got a whole team of architects working on it, probably multiple teams. The landscape architecture of Apple headquarters is literally a photograph out of a biology book of a woman's reproductive organs, except it's missing one vital part, which would make you infertile, which is a subcellular component called the endoplasmic reticulum, which goes around the egg. And when the first sperm eats through the layer, there's a flash of blue light, similar to the flash of blue light that your dentist, when he puts you chip your tooth, he puts the little fake stuff on there that's like putty, and he hits it with the blue light, and it hardens into porcelain or whatever he's using. The same thing happens in the outside of the egg hardens. Without that endoplasmic reticulum, you can't do that, and that's how you get pregnant, because now the shell hardens, it becomes an egg and an embryo. Without that, you can't get pregnant. So Apple's landscape architecture is exactly straight from the textbook, the whole reproductive system of a woman, except missing the endoplasmic reticulum. And then when they did all the studies, they found that the Wi-Fi and stuff out of these devices that they sell actually damages the endoplasmic reticulum and turns it to where it can't harden anymore. So they know what they're doing. Their occult stuff goes so deep. We would be here for 10 lifetimes trying to just explain all the different occult symbology they're using and everything. So anyhow, Wi-Fi is really bad. We call it Wi-Fi for those who know. Then also, just in general, not being grounded during the day. Most people never touch their bare feet on the ground ever. They put rubber soles on the bottom of our shoes a few decades ago to insulate us from the ground, not to give us like more grip or anything like that. Before, everyone was wearing leather. Back in the days, prophets and these guys that were healers, they would put copper insoles in their shoes. Like Horus was known to wear a copper insole in his Jesus sandals to make him more grounded and more electrical, more ability to heal would be better. Same thing with Jesus. These guys were vibrating so high they could heal people with just like their touch, just like we have now. We have these healers that heal you with Reiki and different things. They were just way more advanced. It's been all filtered and pissed down to what they give us now with the acupuncture and the Reiki, and it's very just watered down. So not being grounded makes you basically like one of those in the street when you hear the transformer up there and it's going bzzz. That's kind of like what's happening to your body. And if you keep going with that, it ends up with tinnitus, because that's the most sensitive part of that nervous system. And then there's another like just side bit of information. The human skull has the most advanced internal biolocation system of anything on earth, any animal. not external like dolphins and bats, how they're using sonar and clicking sounds. I'm talking about internally, inside, because our head is the most round. So when you go to like an auditorium or somewhere where like a philharmonic's going to be playing, the back is always rounded, so you don't have any like echo. If you have like corners and stuff, sound will get in there and it'll create like a standing wave. And then they got to come in with equipment and a mic to test all that. Then they put a dipole speaker in that corner to cancel out that echo, so it'll sound, you won't have sound out of whack when like, an advanced orchestra or a band is playing. So this is why our skull is almost perfectly circular, and we have the best internal biolocation systems, and second place is an owl. And how advanced an owl is, turn its head all around. But anyhow, the way our eardrums, they're not actually facing straight out. They're actually angled a little bit forward, just like how our ears are angled a little bit forward. And if you follow that line directly, forward to the front of your skull, you'll hit the dot where the Indians put the little purple dot for the pineal gland on their forehead. So our eardrums are actually facing exactly to that point, and right in between your eardrums is your pineal gland. So this forms a triangle or a pyramid. When you lay down to sleep, it's a standing up pyramid, with the point being where they put that dot on the top of their head. So the whole thing is our brain inside is a vibrational chamber for our pineal gland, which works on frequencies. It's been shut off, so now it's not all hearing or all seeing, which means it could tune into every frequency. Now we've got this one frequency that we're all locked into, which we see in here, called the Lucifer matrix. So that's why we can't see any of these other beings that are attacking our consciousness. We can't remember any of our past lives. We can't communicate consciously with anybody that's not in a physical incarnation. Now, then you go in your dreams and you're talking to your dead uncle and this and that, and everything just seems fine. But then you're back in the physical realm. You can't do that anymore because your pineal gland's not active. So when we dream, our pineal gland is activated by the release of the DMT, or the dimethyltryptamine, which the human body does in 3 times in its human life. Once when we're born, in the 13th week in the womb. Like I said, that woman Barbara didn't actually kill having an abortion at 6 weeks. There was no soul yet. So in the 13th week in the womb, the pineal gland releases a shitload of dimethyltryptamine, or DMT. The same amount is released when you die. The moment you die, and the body loses 21 grams, the weight of the soul. It's why they made that movie called 21 Grams. And the only other time that the pineal gland will release dimethyltryptamine is when you dream. It releases a tiny, tiny little bit. And this pineal gland, picture it, it's like maybe the size of the tip of your pinky, and it's a balloon filled with water, and it flips inside out. So the water will be inside of it, and then the balloon will flip inside out, and the water's now on the outside of it. This is how your soul goes in and out of the body into the dream state. So this is why they calcify our pineal gland, so that the water gets calcified, so it can't flip in and out. So it's really hard for us to remember our dreams. And I've come out of dreams sometimes so vivid of a dream where I'm punching somebody in my bed, and then I wake up, and for like a second I remember everything, and then it's just gone. I'm like, who was I just fighting? Can't remember a thing. And that's why people try to write stuff down right away, but the visual, it's in the visual cortex and it's just gone. So This is a lot of technology being used against us and our consciousness, which is centered in our pineal gland. And now to bring it all back to this, the tinnitus and all that, this is all connected. So those of us who are really awake are vibrating higher, just in generally. Our whole nervous system, our brains have more wrinkles in them to have more surface area. Like they get stupid people, their brain is very smooth inside. Really smart people, it looks like spaghetti. It's very wrinkled. So we have a tendency to hear like these, what's inaudible to most people. Like many people's homes, I could go in and I can hear their electricity in their walls. They can't hear it, but I can hear it. Like a light, I can hear the light going bzzz, even though it's not even on, and they can't hear it. And then sometimes I can't. It just depends on like how high I'm vibrating that day, or maybe there's more toxins in the air. Like recently, I would say I'm a little bit less acute. They've been hitting us with chemtrails for like 4 or 5 days down here in Southern California. It's been 85, 90 degrees for like a week straight, like checkerboard in the sky from 10 years ago. I haven't seen this in 10 years. All of a sudden, everybody's sick. Everybody's eyes are red. I take care of 280 8-year-olds, their eyes are red and they're sniffling and they feel lost a lot of energy. My dog and my cat both have a bunch of stuff in their eyes that I got to clean out every day now. So, they're affecting the internal frequencies that our bodies run on, which is the total of 72,000, another 72 there. 72,000 frequencies, which is what like acupuncture is for. It's to try to fix the little meridians where certain frequencies are being pinched or not going all the way through to release it. Wearing a lot of this polyurethane based clothing, which is made out of the same shit you put in your car to as fuel, like nylon and a lot of this stuff people use for their bedding, these jersey type, I can't think of the name of the material now, but all this stuff is made, if you look at it under a microscope, it has all these negatively shaped fullerenes, which trap low frequency, which trap distortion, basically trap distorted electrical energy. And while you're walking around wearing all this clothes and sleeping in a bed with it, you're basically becoming a capacitor, for like charge, just like when you drag your feet all over the carpet and everything, you touch them. So this is an unhealthy way to be. We should be running with a lot of negative electrons, which you get from, being the best place you can be is standing on the beach, because the sand is made out of quartz crystal, which is all piezoelectric, and so is the ocean. Or just standing on the bare ground, or, that's why people say hug a tree, because the roots are down 30 feet in the ground. It's way more grounded than we are just standing on the bare surface. So all these things are what contribute to this ringing in the ear sensation, or just in general, poor health. Everything your brain is telling your body to do is based on frequency. So if something needs to be digested, there's a certain frequency that's put out for the enzymes to go out for that. And if any of that is just a little bit distorted, obviously it's, you're not going to pull as many nutrients out of the food. They're not going to assimilate as fast, and, so on and so forth. It's just like, having dirty filters in your car. You got a dirty transmission oil filter, you got a dirty oil filter, you got a dirty air filter. You add all those things up, your car's running way less efficient, way less fast. I know, because I'm into street racing. Every little thing counts. Sometimes we just take off the whole air filter, just to get more air for a race or something, just take it completely off, regardless if it's perfectly clean on a Ferrari or Lamborghini, doesn't matter. So, our body's very much the same way. It's a big machine that's working on electrical impulses, and electricity travels through water the best. That's why we're 70-80% water. So if you got dirty water again inside of you, the electrical signal's not going to get through as well. If you got water with positive charge in it and you're trying to send your signals through, there's going to be some attenuation there. So you're going to lose some of your signal as it's traveling through. So, every little thing that they're doing is, whether it's invisible or it's physical in the food, is to lower our frequency and lower our electrical charge. That's what dying is, when you lose charge. And when you get old, you lose a lot of charge, and all the charge is going through basically the cell walls, that like the mitochondria is like our energetic machine, and everything they do is to kind of like stab our mitochondria in the kidney over and over again, so it gives you less and less charge. And then when you get sick is when you've lost charge, and then your body is trying to fix it by putting out a bunch of viruses, which are actually made by the body. It's part of our immune system, not something that floats around that hurts us. And viruses are piezoelectric. So what they do is they add electricity to us. That's why we get a fever, because our body's repairing. Just like when you turn up the dial on the electric blanket, you get more heat. So our body turns up the piezoelectric crystals it's putting out, you get a fever, but that's your body working, healing you. So the way piezoelectricity works is like when you have the kids running around with the light up shoes. There's no battery in there. There's a piezoelectric crystal there, and the piezoelectric crystals have the ability to convert pressure into electricity, and vice versa. So it converts the pressure of the kids stepping on the heel into light. That'll never die. You don't have to replace that battery in that shoe or anything. And it's the same when you go turn on your propane barbecue. You go out there at night and you hit the little button, it goes ding, 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 ding. If it's like really dry and warm in the summer, it'll light up like on the first or second one, or if the barbecue's already been on. But if it's like in the winter and it's damp outside, man, ding, 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 20 times before that shit turns on, you know? You may even bring out a lighter and turn it on because you're pissed off because it's taken so long. That's actually a crystal in there. So you got a spring-loaded metal thing that's smacking on a crystal, and then the crystal's putting out a spark and lighting your propane. Now, if it's all wet and cold, the crystal has a hard time doing that. You got to smack it a bunch of times before it'll do it. So our body's working in the same way. Our body's a big piezoelectric machine with frequencies that are telling all these electrical signals when to fire. Just like the timing in a car or whatever for advance. Like if you want to put higher octane fuel, then you're going to advance the spark on the spark plugs, and you're going to do all these things. And this is the same way, like when you're a higher vibrating human being, everything is a little bit more advanced for you. So one little thing, you're a canary in a coal mine. And people that are already all toxified and everything, they're not the canary in the coal mine. They're like a canary that can't even fly anymore. This has got all kinds of oil hanging on its wings. And so they're not going to feel any little thing like that. Whereas if we do. Anyway, I've been talking for a minute here. I'll get your response.
Well, again, just lots of really interesting information. I'm going to look into all this stuff. And Jonathan has joined us, and so has Julian. So I want to get both of them in here. And Jonathan's been on hold for a minute, so we'll go to Jonathan and then Julian after that. But thanks for joining us, Jonathan. What's up, man?
Not much. How you doing?
Doing all right.
I've been listening. I like this Sunday show.
Indeed, it's good to hear from the different people in the community. So,
yeah. I wanted to do the song of the week.
Okay.
So this is song number 486. Notice how this is all about Arizona. So notice how like with the Arizona sports teams, they treat them like a joke. Like they hype them up and they always fall short. Like for example, the Arizona Cardinals started off 11-0 this past NFL season. And of course, after that they fell off.
Wait, hold on. Didn't they start 10-2 for the 102nd NFL season?
10-2, I'm sorry. 10-2. But they started off they won a bunch of games until they started losing. 10-2, that's right.
They just fell apart after that.
They were like undefeated for a minute.
I think they were 10-0, maybe.
10-0, yeah. Yeah, 10-0, and then they lost the next two, right. So they treat, I feel like they treat these Arizona teams like they do it for a reason. So, you know, they started off 10-2, you're thinking this is a hot team. After that, they fall off. Of course, they beat the Cowboys. But they have the Arizona basketball team, the Wildcats. They're the #1 seed. They got all this hype. They fall off. And so, same thing with the Diamondbacks, right? The Diamondbacks, they haven't done shit since 2001 when they beat the Yankees in that World Series.
Right.
Phoenix Suns, they lost.
Both the Phoenix basketball teams lost last year. The women's team lost in the championship and the men's team.
Right. So song number 486 is, I see you've already pulled it up. It is by the time
I was like, what song is he going to go to about Arizona? I was like, I can only think of one song. So
yeah, perfect. You pulled it up before I even called it. By the time I get to Arizona by Public Enemy. So these are we're doing the top 500 hip hop songs. In my opinion, the most important hip hop songs. And
before you get into this, I just got to remind people, Janet Napolitano, who was the governor in Arizona, is the one that said the next 9/11 is going to be the power grid going down as she exited as the head of the Department of Homeland Security. And then Public Enemy put out the album, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down, with Arizona on the cover of the album. And then 142 days after that album came out, on 14/2 Valentine's Day, we had the power outages all over the nation. And that's also Arizona's birthday is Valentine's Day. So that Public Enemy album about what you're going to do when the grid goes down, it foretold the planned blackout of Valentine's Day 2021. And then again, this is from the album Apocalypse 91. And we're talking about 91 so much right now because Coach K won his first championship back then. The Soviet Union fell apart. There's been a few other things. We've been talking about this 91. So, okay, I'm listening.
Right, 91, exactly. Remember, it was the Route Harvest Festival, Route 91.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so this is by the group Public Enemy, song number 486. And the whole idea behind this is that Arizona was the last state to recognize MLK Day.
And remember what happened on MLK Day this year?
Refresh my memory.
The Rams beat the Cardinals on the first Monday Night Football playoff
Oh,
game.
right. Oh, I won money on that. Money on
Monday
that.
Night Football equals 2-1-3. It was the clue all along that it was the Rams' year to win the Super Bowl in the 2-1-3 on 2-1-3. So that's why they did that.
Yeah, I won money on that. I remember that. That was an easy one too.
Mm-hmm.
But they always hype this team up, the Arizona college teams, the professional teams, and then they're the last state to recognize MLK. So this is an important song in hip hop history, and I'm gonna read through the lyrics. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay, so in this is what happened, right? In 1990, the people of Arizona voted against instituting K Day as a federal holiday, angering civil rights activists and Black people in general across the world, both terms that would accurately describe Chuck D. So Sister Soldier is featured on this song, and so the title of this track is a reference to Isaac Hayes' 1969 soul cover of the 65 song By the Time I Get to Phoenix, which was previously a country hit for Glenn Campbell in 1967. So that's
and for the record, Phoenix equals 91 in Gematria, and then this is on the album in 91. So you see why they did it that year.
Interesting. So Chuck D, of course. Well, actually, it's Sister Soldier that starts off with the intro. So Sister Soldier goes, "This is Sister Soldier, Public Enemy, security of the first world, and an allied forces are traveling west to head off a white supremacy scheming to destroy the national celebration of Martin Luther King's birthday. Public Enemy believes that the powers that be in the states of New Hampshire and Arizona, remember that they try to they don't talk about New Hampshire like that, but New Hampshire was also one of the states that didn't want MLK to be a holiday. But they try to bury that, you know. They let you know it was Arizona, but they try to hide the fact about New Hampshire. So it's both states, New Hampshire and Arizona, have found psychological discomfort in paying tribute to a Black man who tried to teach white people the meaning of civilization. Good luck, brothers. Show them what you got. So that's it, Sister Soldier. And then Chuck D goes in. I'm counting down to the day deserving, fitting for a king. I'm waiting for the time when I can get to Arizona, because my money is spent for the goddamn rent. Neither party is mine, not the jackass or the elephant. 20,000 niggy nigs brothers in the corner of the cell block, but they come from California. Population is in the desert and sun, with the gun cracker running things under his thumb. Staring hard at the postcards, isn't it odd and unique? Seeing people smile wild in the heat. 120 degree, because I want to be free. What's a smiling face when the whole state's racist? Why I want a holiday? Damn it. Because I wanna. So what if I celebrated standing on a corner? I ain't drinking no 40, thinking time with the 9 till we get some land. Call me the trigger man. Looking for the governor, huh? He ain't loving you, huh? But here to trouble ya. He's rubbing you wrong. Get the point and come along. He can get to the joint. I urinated on the state while I was kicking this song. Yeah, he appeared to be fair. The sucker over there, he tried to keep it yesteryear, the good old days, the same old ways that kept us dying. Yes, you, me, myself, and I. Indeed. What he need is a nosebleed. Read between the lines, and then you'll see the lie. That's a deep line right there. Read between the lines, and you see the lie. Politically planned, but understand that's all she wrote. When we see the real side that hide behind the vote, right? Because we know our votes don't mean shit. And they can't understand why he the man. I'm singing about a king. They don't like it when I decide to mic it. Wait, I'm waiting for the date for the man who demands respect because he was great. Come on. I'm on a one mission to get a politician to honor, or he's a goner by the time I get to Arizona. So that's his first verse, right?
Indeed.
Then he goes to verse 2. It doesn't even go into a hook. He just goes straight to verse 2. Well, I got 25 days to do it. If a wall in the way, just watch me go through it. Because I got to do what I got to do. PE number 1 gets the job done. When it's done and over was because I drove her through all the static. Not stick, but automatic. That's the way it is. He got to get his. Talking MLK. Gonna find the way. Make the state pay. I'm looking for the day. Hard as it seems, this ain't no damn dream. Got to know what I mean. It's team against team. Catch the light beam. Then he goes to verse 3. So I pray every day. I do and praise Jah, the maker. Looking for culture I got, but not here from Jamaica. Pushing and shaking the structure, bringing down the Babylon. Hearing the sucker that make it hard for the brown, the hard boulevard. I need it more than ever now. Who's sitting on my freedom? Oppressor, people beater, a piece of the pick. We picked a piece of land that we're deserving now. Reparation, a piece of the nation, and damn, he got the nerve. Another nigga they say and classify, we want too much. My people plus the whole 9 is mine. Don't think I even double Dutch. Here's a brother, my attitude has hit him. Hang him high. I'm blowing up the 90s. Started ticking in 86. And better start fearing. While we sing it now, there will be the day we know who's down and who will go by the time I get to Arizona. Now, see that line, last line as well, towards the end was a deep line when he goes, when the blind get a mind, better start fearing, right? In other words, when people wake up, right? Then they got something to be scared of. Then at the end is when the chorus comes in. By the time I get to Arizona, So that was song number 486. You know, it's just interesting how it's interesting how they make certain states more important than others, or they want it to stand out in this way or that way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and then now what we know too, is
like
Arizona has that 42 encoded it, the number they do so many racial rituals with. So, you know,
right. But notice that New Hampshire was one of also the last ones to dedicate the holiday. But they don't talk about New Hampshire like that. They let us know that Arizona did not want to pass this holiday. You know, and of course, Ali, we know MLK, Malcolm X, you know, they were all what's the word you use? Controlled opposition.
Okay.
Controlled opposition. You know, we know that, so.
Well, it's just funny. Look, now all that we know, it's like they only met one time in history, MLK and Malcolm X, and it was March 26th, 64. Now we know why that day's so significant. 26/3, 263, the 56th prime, Society of Jesus, Black Lives Matter, Obama wins the 56th election. What they just did with the woman in Alabama, the first black woman to go to a white school, they recognize that on the 56th day of the year and name a building after her, and then a few days later she dies. It's like, come on, man. So
Right. But this is the patterns. See, that's the thing about it. That
Jonathan,
like we're on to the patterns. Like, for example, the reason, you know why I predicted that there would be a dead rapper on the 16th of March?
Jesus thing? 16/3, the 38th prime, rapper, death, murder, killing.
It's easy. It's easy. That's how easy it is. Okay, let me tell you about it, because it was more than one rapper that died on that day. But Baby Cino, an aspiring rapper from Miami, was shot and killed in a daylight ambush minutes after leaving a city jail. 20-year-old rapper, death equals 20. 20-year-old rapper dead soon as he leaves jail, right? Shot at, supposedly, according to the news, 40 times, right? Shot at 40 times. He's 20 years old. 40 plus 20 equals 60. The N-word equals 60.
And
right?
police. Right
And
after he leaves.
police. I mean, come on, like this. It's just like, it reminds me of KTS Dre. It was the same similar story, which we talked about before. Same similar story. He gets out of jail in Chicago, gets shot and killed as soon as he walks out of jail.
It reminds me of my own life, except for I didn't get shot. The day that they put me in jail for no reason, when I got out of jail and got home, right after I get home, 2 trucks show up in front of my house, and a bunch of people I never seen before just start walking around in front of my house, just holding guns. And it made my neighbor freak out. And she called the police, but then it took them about 2 hours to show up. And then when they showed up, they're like, "We don't see anything here." They were to my house in 5 seconds to arrest me. But yeah, and I'm pretty sure those were a bunch of off-duty cops that day. But yeah, I mean, it's all the same, man, and it's so obvious. So
I remember you told me that story. Yeah, but they show up, right? Exactly. That's the thing about the police. They full of shit. By the time they show up, the crime's already over. Like in Vallejo, California, like nobody wants to sign up for that job. So there's a lack of police in Vallejo, right? So anything happens, they ain't gonna show up to 3-4 hours later, because nobody wants that job. Because I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, you know, like obviously they're the ones. Like, you know, it's like, you know,
uh-oh. His connection
that
froze.
might be us killing each other in some instances, but according to the research I've done, it's not just gang banging or I got some beef with some dude and he come and shoot me and kill me. This is too much of a pattern, like for it to be that simple. Like,
right.
Okay, it in some cases that killed the black man, yeah, but he probably, but we don't know the whole details of this. Who paid him to do it? Like, or what's the odds that this dude gets out of jail and then he gets shot and killed on the road? I mean, it's more to it than that. We got almost 500 rappers dead in the last 2 years.
Right, and with the same pattern over and over.
You telling me that's all gangs? That's all gang banging? That's all? You see what I'm saying? That's impossible. Like, how much beef can there possibly be? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Especially when it's all the same patterns, right? Especially when it's all the same patterns and all it traces back to the Jesuits. But again, that's the stereotype. I remember when I was down in New Orleans and I was talking to these women. It's funny, I was right across the school from the Jesuit school in New Orleans. What is it, Loyola, New Orleans, or whatever it is. But there were some women in the park, and because I had the posters out for all the people who died before that championship, and then I was talking about the rapper, and then when it came to the rapper, she's like, "Yeah, but rappers, I mean, they're always involved in bad stuff and get shot." And I was like, "Well, isn't that kind of a stereotype? I mean, do you necessarily know that that's exactly what's happening with all these rappers that kill?" And she's like, "Well, I think it is." And it's just like, but I mean, the stereotype's been perpetrated in the media, and now people just aren't even questioning it. So they just think that's the rapper lifestyle, to go out and live crazy and get shot as a gangbanger. But Jonathan, we got to let this Mr. Julian say hello, because he's been on hold a long time too.
All right, cool.
But yeah, we'll just all have a discussion here. But let's let Julian get in. Julian, you there?
Hey man, yeah, you can just call me Julian. You know, what's up? How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. Thanks for tuning in. What's on your mind tonight?
Not too much. Well, there's always lots. What would I wish to bring up? I don't know. It's cool hearing from Matt, but yeah, I don't know, man. He needs to chill with how he's talking, though. Like, I know realistically, I think people get frustrated with these things, but it's like we gotta remember, like, I'm trying to like do like what I can do is like peacefully non-compliance and just like lawfully rebel the best he can. But I realize like now they're just like pushing me to such a degree where it's like I'm very private in my nature. I wish to stay to myself and whatnot, but now it's like they're pushing me into the public or slandering me and
Who is?
my credit and stuff in the public.
Who?
Just by making these charges up against me. The newspaper probably said some crap with some false claims saying I pulled a thing on a freaking officer. I have charges about that because I
you went to
wasn't
jail?
wearing a mask.
You went to
Yeah,
jail
man, for fucking too long. Yes,
for
man.
not wearing a mask?
Yes, and that's why none of this is
You
gone
went to
out, and
jail for
that's why
not
I'm
wearing a mask.
frustrated to no degree. Yes, for real. I'm not
You're in
joking.
Canada.
Yes,
This
well,
is in
what
Canada.
happened was it escalated from that. I'm sure a lot of other people have gone through some situations, but what happened was an officer came to the scene. They had just put out some like thing in the newspaper saying that, oh, well, police don't really care. They're gonna just start enforcing the new whatever the businesses want. And so if the person in the business, this is all around the hype around April or the right around the start of 2020 when this first started happening. And then they started turning up the everybody's antic or the hype or the hysteria on this nonsense. And then everybody started clamping down and saying you can't come in here and saying all of this. Well, essentially, they were arbitrary, even though there's clearly bylaws and stuff. I don't agree to them. I understand the laws like way more than most of these people, and the officer included. He doesn't care. He just is acting and doing these things, and now I'm being screwed completely by the
Well, the law is
system.
a bunch
So
of bullshit.
I don't know.
I mean, what the
Yes, no, most
fuck? Like,
definitely, most
okay, like I've
definitely.
been
So
walking
what
around
happened
here,
was,
I'm unvaccinated, walk around with no mask. I mean, it's just a bunch of
yes,
bullshit.
man.
Anybody with a brain can see this shit. Like,
Yeah, man. Tell me how I did not wear. I haven't still worn it, and I still hadn't at that time. But at that very moment, what happened was, and I've been going out every single day doing shopping essentially, but I don't wish to do it. I'm doing it
so
almost
when
by
do you go to
force.
court? When do you have a court date?
This is how it's been. They make you call in every time for on a weekly basis essentially, or every couple weeks. Not even enough where you have enough time to serve them like documents and stuff, and enough time for them to respond. And then they just keep moving the process along, saying, oh, we're going to take this is this hearing, this kind of hearing,
Oh, they
pretending
keep
that
pushing
they're
it back.
giving you some type of due process. But guess what? Every single time that you go in there, it's just like when you appear to a court or whatever, they get paid. So every single buddy who works in that courthouse is getting paid, and probably not just for their hourly wage, but for every single buddy who comes through that courthouse. You know what I mean? So essentially, they're making a ton very fast just by calls and stuff. But more or less, it's not even about that right now. It's just like they see they have me as a desired thing. Like this could have all been instigated just from a choice. Like nowadays, we have technology that goes so far beyond. Not to mention all the media that was influencing this girl to be like, oh, don't allow this guy to come in here because of this hype that they're like the newspaper was pushing, saying that the police will just come in force and trespass somebody if they wish to not have you there. Well, that's completely contrary to the bylaws that they have written in the law here. So it's like who's being all of the who's putting this stuff out there? It's completely contrary. I would go into it so deep. I wish to, but I feel like there's other ways of like beating the at law and stuff and saying like there's common law, and that's like the public law. And then you got the private side, which is like the law of the sea, commerce, and that's where they're trying to right now. They're trying to merge it right now. So it's like we had common law, it's like law of man and stuff. It's a law of the do no harm and you don't destroy someone's property. It's like we know it. It's written in our heart and stuff. The law of the sea is like an eye for an eye. It's like, hey, if you're doing business and stuff, it's got to be right down to the right cent. If somebody screwed someone over, it's all got to be accounted for and stuff. So right now they're kind of like merging that with they've already kind of done that, but now through this digital stuff, that's where this is going. And it just so happens to work perfectly with this whole like virus thing. It's so well thought out because now all of a sudden it's like you have to call in to, oh, you can't come in here because we're scared of this and that. Now all of a sudden they want me to have a trial to actually go in there, and after I'm supposed to have some faith that they're gonna not screw me over, right? After like
So
a
you're going to
year
trial?
of doing this, when yeah, they actually have me go in there, and I've been trying to tell them like, oh, just drop it, and like moving my side the whole time, and they're just like, no, 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 don't worry, we're gonna just keep moving along. And a big thing for them is just getting your last name or saying that you're going to identify as this or you're going to self-represent and all of these things. And it's like, no, I'm not with all of that. I'm just here to like present my thing. But it's like they can't see you right now, so it's all like kind of digital and stuff. So it's like there's no actual tangible thing. It's very like separate. But nowadays, like, how can I have faith in going in there with the way that things are going? I have actually been given some good sense, some like given some good faith by them in times, because one other time I was wronged and screwed over, and they took me through a process of charges for a long time for some guys that robbed me, but they got hurt in my self-defense, and they could tell probably right off the jump that it was complete bullshit. These two young punks stealing from me. I was
Yeah.
older than them, and I had jewelry, and then these two kids had nothing, but then they said that they didn't. They got hurt, and then all of a sudden they're trying to like say I took from them. It was nonsense. But
So
essentially,
let me
eventually
ask you
they just
something. Are
dropped
the
that,
laws in Canada
and
more
it's
strict?
ridiculous, man.
Are the laws in Canada more strict than in the
Um,
U.S.?
they're more vague. This is the thing. They're more vague,
More
and there's
vague?
less people that have a value of like for
No,
those
but
values
can
of
you
like being
explain that
free and
further? What do you
stuff
mean by
of that
vague?
nature.
Like, what do you mean by vague?
It's very
Tell
vague
me.
and ambiguous because like they'll write a law and they'll say things very like double-sided, speak with the forked tongue, insofar as like it sounds really like, oh, we're going to make sure that the public or members of the public have access to all these uh, public accommodations. I'm just giving you an example,
Mm.
and that's like in bylaw stuff. They're talking about public accommodations being like businesses. I think of them like a public venue. We all have an interest of going there. We're trying to do business or get our things. Even in law, they talk about like consumer protection and saying like, oh, people have household goods that they need to get and stuff like this. By me talking about this stuff, it shows that I'm sort of like competent in it or whatever. And then they think of that as sort of like joinder if you're using their terminology. That's why I don't really like to use their terminology or their titles and stuff. But realistically, like they know I understand their concepts and stuff. So it's just like they're like, oh, screw this guy. And I don't know. I've in the past they've said, okay, we'll let him be. And I since then I've just been trying to stay to myself or whatever, do my own thing. But like after this whole thing of them screwing us over, and then also my mom killed right before all of this stuff, right before that case, they let me off. I almost felt like that was like almost like they took a sacrifice like from me because my mom got really ill right before when in the course of my first thing, and then all of a sudden she was getting better, and then all of a sudden they gave her some type of like barium when she was going for a scan. Then she goes in for the scan. She goes in for the scan. A few days later, just like the very next day, she was having extreme gut pain, and that wasn't a good thing for them. They should have known better. If you have a blockage in your colon or whatever, You don't go giving someone like a barium or radioactive stuff that can mess up. Anyway, she had such pain. Then they called the ambulance. They came to my place, and all of a sudden, she wasn't able to speak just at that very time. I know, like with technology and frequencies, that could be a thing, or it could just been she's in such agony and stuff. But she lost her voice as they were coming in. These guys came in. They kind of like first responders, whatever, came up. And then when they took her, we just thought we'd see her at the hospital. It's like 20 minutes down the road. We followed. By the time we got there, they said, "Oh, do you want us to try and bring her back?" Blah blah blah. All this nonsense and shit. And then fucking yeah, I went through bullshit. Then after that, I was just like, okay, they let they let off those charges. I was trying to get on with my life and stuff. And then now, like couple of years later, all of a sudden in 2000, maybe it was a year or two, no, just a year or two later, 2020, yeah, they started doing this thing. Yeah, it was just over a year later they did the Corona thing. Now I'm like, wow, that's a complete like trust breach of the whole thing. But anyways, to answer your question, it's just like they do write things and very things too. It sounds very good and like, oh, protect the public and stuff. But a lot of times it just means protect the public state of their own thing. If you look at it from that perspective, it just means protecting their establishment. And it's like, oh, this is a big thing. Like here, this is a big thing that I came across is that say peace officers. I'm looking into what is a peace officer, right? I thought it was someone who protects the public peace. But it turns out it looks like most of the time they're only getting in trouble, like as a peace officer. They can use too much force. The only time they can get in trouble is if they use an excess amount of force. And I'm like, hey, that's one. And I'm like, that's very vague because they can say what is excessive based on the situation or whatever. And then the other thing, other ones like allowing a prisoner to escape. Another one is like not stopping a riot, or another thing is not stopping another thing. So it's basically all about keeping the captives in a controlled state. The other three, and the fourth one is just not using too much. The first one on the list, it sounds like, oh, they can't use too much force on somebody, but it is very like ambiguous and vague, and those are things that are like always frowned upon in law. Like it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be very black and white and simple, like do no harm or whatever. Okay, what damage I caused and stuff. They can't show that right now because right now the officer was coming at me. I was filming him. I had this on a video and stuff, and then they took that from me, and they still haven't brought it up, even though I told them to give it to me on numerous occasions, or just send me the video files and stuff like that. They wouldn't even do that. So it's like, how do you think I feel good about going in there? What are you gonna do? Smear me or just take me, grab me by the collar, kind of thing, you know? So, anyways, yeah, it's frustrating in that sense. But yeah, I'm just like, been at like at peace with it. But like I said, I want to be private. Now I just want to come out with it and make people aware. And then it's like if people would come together, like you were saying, if we lived in the same area and stuff, and everybody was staying, or if we went to the courthouse and been like, no, this is our courthouse. Actually, we should hold court on the lawn. Matter of fact, I would hold court. You know what? Get the gallows ready. If I'm wrong, you can hang me. If I'm right and everybody here thinks that you actors are fucking wrong, then all of you guys get on the fucking gallows, because you guys are doing some high ass treason, high ass crime. This is some treason shit.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying years ago. I was like, man, we need to create our own community where we got our own food and we don't have to put up with their bullshit, because a lot worse stuff is coming in the future. And I was saying that back in 2015. And yeah, I mean, you're telling the story right now.
Yeah,
Julian,
man.
I'm sorry you're going through all that, man.
Like Matt was saying. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
I'm just saying, I mean, your story sucks to hear. I mean, it's a signs of the time type of story, and you're in Canada right now. It's not quite that bad here in the U.S., but before long, it'll be even worse everywhere. But
yeah, and it's crazy because it's just like I feel like other people have gotten their stories out, or some stories have gotten a lot of publicity. I don't know. I think it was almost just put out there for certain reasons or as a controlled type of opposition. Because even know some people who started like groups and rallies here about anti-mask things, and then all of a sudden they move, they go back to the States. Like for all I know, they were lawyers to begin with, and they just came here to like take information of as to who is who and what, and then just go on with their life and stuff as sellouts. Like a lot of them may have been that were at the events were like fellow church members or other things that I gathered when I was there. So it's just like,
Sure.
yeah, it was like a community type of thing. And then like some of them moved or what have you, but some of them look like familiar faces, and some of them just happen to be like here, and then they're like, hey, I want to go to the States. But that's basically where I'm at. Like, what is this like? Why wouldn't I want to just say, okay, I'm expatriate, I'm not patriating. What they when you're a citizen, you claim you're like a subject or whatever, you pledge your allegiance or whatever to the whatever, and you're being a subject essentially, and saying, okay, I'm a citizen or a slave of that, and you're safe and on a ship. So essentially that goes back to like that law of the sea coming onto the land type of thing. It's like a maritime law. What we have is like the law of the land and the law of the sea is the admiralty.
Maritime
But
law.
maritime is
law.
basically
Yeah.
maritime is like on the land type of, yeah, the ships, the skippers and everything has to do with the people that are on the ship. But as for actual admiralty, it has more to do with like the transacting of goods and stuff, from what I've gathered. And then yeah, it's very interesting. But ultimately, it's like I want to know what I did wrong. But if not, if they do want me to come into equity and do the private side, I could beat them there too. You want to say that I'm your property and stuff? Okay, so every time I wipe my ass and every time I do something, then basically you got me for that, because like I shouldn't have to pay for none of this if everything is owned by them, then the liability all rests with them. But we don't all see that. We keep playing into the system. It's like even what Matt was saying. It's just like, oh, I gotta pay the bills and shit. It's like I've been like, yo, this is trust breach to the nth degree. I'm just like, I don't even want to. Why should we be paying for anything or acting as surety for these for the name when they're gonna kick us out of society anyways for not fucking taking a thing or whatever? You know what I mean? And just say you can't come in here. And I'm like, you can't deny someone the right to like commerce or whatever doing business. Like that's just a fellow thing that everything is basically trust. Like in trust law, when we interact, it's like someone lets you like do something for them or like take the wheel or something, they're essentially putting their life in your hand. That's a trust right there. You know what I mean? So everything that
Sure.
we do is essentially based on trust to a large degree, and they're sort of like monetizing that.
Sure.
But it's very like, yeah. But yeah, what
Frank,
you were saying, even like I thought that there could be remedy in what you were saying, like beating these people with the private claims or having the actors act in their proper capacity. But it's like what I was saying, it's like the courthouses and our public venues, those venues we use to administrate justice or whatever, get proper things rectified, is being commandeered by like privateers or pirates, people that come onto the land and stuff. These are like attorneys and stuff that act for the foreign interests or like for I don't know, what have you. Very funny, but yeah. It's
well,
like what can
I'm
we do
sorry to hear it,
to beat
Julian,
that
but
is essentially like what you were saying. It's like with the news stations, like go post up, be like, yeah, what up? We're taking this place for at least like you guys gotta freaking we're holding trial right here on the lawn. We don't even need it inside that building. Like, what up? You're telling us we got to go through there to freaking to lose protection so we can go in there with a gang of people that can just drag you down into a dungeon or whatever, into a cold, damp, like cold rooms and stuff. Like, why do we want to deal with that? So you guys can go do your perverted shit and stuff. Like, fuck that. I'd rather like go on my feet. Like now I'm just like saying, yeah, I'm not even about that. I'm not even about trying to go in there and deal with these fools. So it is what it is. We'll see what they do.
All right.
But
Well, thanks for
ultimately, like,
filling
yeah,
us in
I
on
had
what's
a
going
bunch
on,
of
Julian.
people.
We gotta let a few more people get the word in,
Yeah,
though. I told Sweet Lady I was gonna
I'll
wrap it
still
up at
back.
9 p.m. my time, so that's 25 minutes. But we do have people on the line, and I want to let everybody get in their last
Cool.
final piece. And for people who send in emails and I didn't send an invite, it's just because we're late in the show. I'm sorry. There's always next week. But D26, we cut him off a while ago, and I know he had a few more thoughts. So hang in there, Julian, because I'll let you get in your final word, but we'll just go through everybody still on the show. They'll all put in their final piece, and we'll call it a night. But we'll let D26 go first because he's been waiting the longest. So D26.
I was wondering, just before you, what's
Go
that
ahead,
you got on the
Jonathan,
screen?
and then go ahead.
But just what on the screen? Will Smith appeared to strike Chris Rock. I was wondering if you could, what is that?
Yeah, here's what stands out to me about that.
Okay.
So the story is that Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith because she's bald right now. Apparently, she has some kind of disorder.
Okay.
And Will Smith approached the stage and came up and hit Chris Rock for the joke. But it looks like it was all planned because
Of
it's
course.
48 days after Chris Rock's birthday. The word slap equals 48. Hollywood's
God.
48. Illuminati's 48. And again, I mean, to me, the symbolism is that you can't even joke about anything anymore. I mean, like we live in an age where just like everybody's so hurt by everything. And I mean, you can't have a sense of humor about hardly anything anymore. Everyone's just so offended. I mean,
Everybody's so sensitive. Yeah.
So
That's because I was looking at that on the screen. I seen you pulled it up, and I was like, "What is that?" I like that had to be planned. That had to be planned. There's no way around it. Like,
yeah, that's the way I see it, man. It's just like you can't even a comedian can't even be a comedian anymore. And I mean, in a sense, Will
Right.
Smith's a comedian in his own right, coming up as a funny guy on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So
right.
you
They
know.
just make the job of being a comedian that much harder because everybody's so sensitive about everything. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, not even comedians are as good as Richard Pryor back in the day. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't get that quality comedian like Eddie Murphy back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get that anymore. Eddie Griffin. You know, you don't get a funny comedian anymore because everything you can't even make jokes about shit.
Indeed. Yeah, to me, that's how I interpret this whole thing. But and it's not the first time we've had a big ritual with Will Smith in an award ceremony. You remember the other year when he got his Lifetime Achievement Award
For
at
New
the
Orleans, with the New Orleans from the Will Smith from New Orleans got killed, and then he was in getting an award with the New Orleans colors in the ceremony.
He just done the movie Focus, set in New Orleans, based on gambling and football and numerology. If you've never seen the movie Focus, for all the people out there, you should watch that. There's a lesson on the numbers thing.
Yeah, I saw
But
Focus.
he just done that movie, and then the MTV set was gold and black like the Saints colors. He's getting the Lifetime Achievement Award, and then Will Smith on the Saints just happens to be getting killed at the same time.
At the same time, the Will Smith is getting murdered. And he was
now-
a big time
now this.
football player. You know, if you
Right.
follow football, he was a big time defensive player. He was probably like the best defensive player on their team at that time.
Well,
See
he
what I'm
won
saying?
Super Bowl 44. He won Super Bowl 44 with the Saints, and Will Smith equals 44. So, yeah. But yeah, that's my interpretation of that so far. So, but D26 up early to be with us again. He's in the other part of the world, you guys. But he added a whole bunch of 201s tonight to the world of sports that I never caught before. So, what else did you want to finish up with, D26?
Well, I had a few things, but I'll be very quick. Well, I was talking about the pandemic, the Spanish influenza, and the 28th of September, the story of 28th of September relating to the 1918 Spanish influenza. So, according to the Wikipedia page, the second wave began in August. So the second wave of the virus in 1918 began in the second half of August 1918, but it bursted open. So it was not, there were not many cases, but the Philadelphia Liberty Loans Parade, held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on 28th of September 1980 to promote the government bonds for World War I, resulted in 12,000 deaths after a major outbreak of the illness spread among the people who had attended the parade. So this was the story that is there on the Wikipedia page. If you under the deadly second wave of late 1918, if you just go under the subtitles of that Spanish flu Wikipedia page, you will find that September 28 reference. And as I said, 289 in base 12 equals 201. And uh, with Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, it reminds me of bridge collapse. And I did some decode on that. Let me just find that. Where I had this. Okay, I found it. Sorry. And
I
you talk
didn't mean
about
to
the
interrupt.
national.
820. But what is? Can you expand? Just a quick explanation on what base 8 counting is. Just a quick explanation on.
So in base, basically, we use base 10 as our standard thing because we have. That's my interpretation because we have 10 limbs, with 10 fingers on our hands and
Okay.
10 fingers in our legs. So that is related to human anatomy. So we have. That is why we use as a standard as a base 10. In base 8, the numbers are just 1 to 8. Imagine
Okay.
like Chaldean. So after 8, you don't have a 9. That's why 9, if I'm not
Oh,
wrong,
it's
9
kind of like the
equals 11.
Chaldean cipher.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of like the Chaldean cipher. So it's the numbers limited are just 1 to 8. Just if you've used the hex chart if you have ever done decode or this codings, computer science, uh, there's something called a hex chart sheet that are hexadecimals. Some numbers might even have uh, consonants and characters from the English alphabet because in hexadecimals there are like 16 characters. So there's 1 to 10, then there's 1 A B C D E F. I guess till F. There are like 6 characters. But I don't know if that is the one which is there in the hex calculator. But in octal, as in the base 8, there are 1 to 8. Base 12, there's 1 to 12. That's why if you uh, go into number properties in the hex calculator, if you write 100, you will find 64 in octal, as in 100 is base 8. Sorry, 100 is base 8 counting of 64. And why is that important? Because in base 10, as I said, the standard number which we use is base 10. So 10 square is 100. And in base 8, the maximum value, which is 1 to 8. So 8 square is 64. So 64 is 100 in base 8 counting. So that is why the square equals 8 square equals 10 square in base 8 and base 10. So
Right.
you understand that it's 1 to 8 and 1 to 10 and 1 to 12. In duodecimal, it's 1 to 12. That's base 12 counting. And that is why you also understand that if you go in base 8 counting, the original number, you're going one more than the original number. And in base 12, you're going less than the original number. So in 201, in base 8 counting is 311, March 11.
Well, so let me ask you a question. So does that give less validity to the number 9? Just
No,
a question.
because not really, because 9 is what do you say? In base 8 counting, it equals 11.
Okay.
If you get that, I guess, yeah. And I also made a point that 9 is the reflection of 11 in the Roman numerals. And if you just I don't remember which church, but in some major churches in the United States, they have this inscription of 1xx1, IXX1, which is, if you can translate that equals as 911. This is just first two letters and the second two letters.
Doesn't that make so
but-
much sense too? Just 9 and 11. IX is 9
9.
in Roman numerals. XI is 11. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. All roads lead
And-
to Rome.
And it was, I don't know which church it is, but it is probably the biggest church in the United States. Probably, I'm not sure. Is it in Chicago by any chance, or Washington?
The biggest
I don't
church?
know. Yeah,
biggest.
biggest church. I don't know.
That
which-
sounds
I,
about
I
I
did
looked
some.
that up. I don't know.
Even I
neither.
don't know, because it was a very
I would imagine it
old
would be in
documentary.
Texas. That's just a wild
Probably.
guess, though.
Uh,
Everything's
it's
bigger
an
in
entire
Texas,
country.
right?
It's an entire country. Isn't it the largest state by land? Texas.
Texas is the biggest state as by land, yeah. Not
by land.
It's bigger than
population.
Alaska?
Population is California. Because there's almost
Okay.
40 million people in California.
Not, I would say not enough, because 2 cities in India would be equal to that.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Two cities.
What
By
city
the
are
way,
you? What city are you in?
in Mumbai. So Mumbai has the population of
Mumbai.
25 million people. Yeah,
What
it's
what,
the
what country is
commercial
that?
capital.
What
It's in
country?
India.
Mumbai, India. Okay.
Yeah, that equals 201, by the way. Zach has written that in his book.
201.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it equals 201.
What?
That is the way, by the way, if
Oh,
you have ever known Bollywood, that is the Indian cinema, that is based in, Bombay, which is now Mumbai. It used to be
oh, I
Bombay in
saw
the old
that
days.
that movie. That was a big time movie that I saw. That was really good.
Slumdog Millionaire, that is. It is.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that movie was killer. But see, I waited till it came out in the dollar movie, and I went and
Mm-hmm.
I took my daughter to see it. This was when
Mm-hmm.
movies was $1 back then. There's a thing called a dollar movie, and we went to the
I
dollar
didn't
movie
know.
to see it, and that was one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I can't think
That
of
movie
a.
won big time awards.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
I
funny
know.
is the last time I ever hung
What?
out with my sister, really, like when her and I were still getting along, we saw that movie. So,
Really?
uh-huh.
Yeah, I
Oh,
took my daughter to Tallahassee to the dollar movie to see that movie,
oh. By
and
the way,
we only
since we're
paid
talking about
$1 to
that,
get in, $1 each. Yeah, that was
since
big
we're
time.
talking about that,
That was a really well
uh,
written movie, well acted
Z-
too. Good actors in that too.
just to make a point on that, Zach, Irfan Khan was also in that movie, Slumdog Millionaire. He was
Right.
the
Yeah.
police officer. So yeah, he was in a lot of movies in Hollywood as well. But just to make a quick point, there's three possibilities which I'm looking at.
Hold on, just
One
to
is
answer one of your questions before you go further. I looked it up. The largest structural church in the U.S. is the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City.
New York City. Well, that
oh,
makes
it's in
sense too.
NYC. Okay,
No,
so
that makes
yeah,
sense.
that makes
Well, New York
sense.
is the biggest city, so that would make
Uh-huh.
sense to have the biggest church.
Isn't NYC the most populous city?
New
Or is
York
it
City is the
I
second?
think
biggest
so.
city. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
what? 15 million people in New York?
It's either that or Los Angeles. It's one of those two. So.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's some big cities.
Talking about NYC. Oh, all right. So, since I was talking about NYC and 9/11, have you seen my post about 9/11 and the what was that? The 1945 plane crash connection.
Yes, into the Empire
And
State Building. Mm-hmm.
have you seen that post? Which is why I made a point that uh, I need to find my own post. I forgot what I was speaking. But there is also another guy. His name is GoldenEye Decodes. He has also made a very good point. But I guess we both have like completely different decodes. But his one is, I guess, longer than mine, and he has done much more in detail. I will also drop a link into his decode.
How long? When did you discover Gematria?
I discovered Gematria in the first lockdown, so that was interesting. I still don't remember which day
You
it
just
was.
got
I wish.
on. Wow.
The good old.
You're doing good for
And
you. If you just getting on, you're doing pretty good right now.
Almost 2 years
I
now.
didn't.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
I started. I started.
You're ahead of your time.
I started watching videos. I would say early. I just was just watching videos. That's it. I just figured out because I knew half of the things. It's just that I need to know everything because personally, if I don't understand anything completely, I won't begin anything. I don't know if
You won't
guys
even
can see,
comment on it yet. That makes sense.
yeah, I won't even comment on it.
Yeah.
If you can see in the background, I guess you cannot in the screen, but I have what is it, handmade sketches. But I never did any classes. I never learned anything. I just one fine day, I just sat down with a portrait of Michael Jackson as in photo and my phone. That's it, and I just drew himself. That's it, and it became a good portrait. That's it. So. I can't find it at the moment, but anyways, I'll just go on the another thing with the 9/11. I did talk about in the TFR with the September 11. Sorry, November 11 armistice. The armistice 11/11/11. You mentioned it the last one of your streams as well, with the number on Archduke Francis Ferdinand's car being the same number as the day when the war would end. Well, armistice equals 304 in the prime cipher. September 11 was 304 days after the anniversary of November 11. So it also, in other words, it was also 61 days before its upcoming anniversary, which was the 83rd anniversary. So 61 is also 18th prime like IHS. 9/11, I would say, actually, the Manhattan Project equals 301. So I'm finding this 301. Another thing I would say, I guess I should probably make a list of how many 301s I've found. I also found a couple of 401. With the 401, it's interesting because that is the 79th prime, like Society of Jesus. But another thing is that the September 11 attacks equals 401. Donald Rumsfeld, the then defense secretary, equals Pentagon attack, who one day before the 9/11, the 9/11 attacks on September 10th, on national television said that UNSH is missing $2.1 trillion with the T. That was the news reporter. Yes, you guys heard it right. It was a 2.2 trillion with the T. That's what exactly. That was what CNN or BBC, one of them,
Did
reported.
you say 2.1 or 2.2?
Yeah, the day before
2.1.
9/11. That's what the front page of the New York Times was on the day of 9/11. That Donald Trump Rumsfeld said we lost $2 trillion and the military had to become transparent. And then the next day, 9/11 happens and everybody
No,
forgets.
but okay. Now on 9/10/2001, the biggest DJ that we had out of Miami, the biggest and probably the best DJ out of Miami ever, Uncle Al, died on that same day, was shot and killed the day before 9/11. 9/10/2001, the biggest hip hop DJ in our city, Miami, was murdered the day before 9/11. So that's just another, a hip hop, because people fail to recognize this because they give a lot of credit to Khaled, but Khaled is just an imposter. He was born in New Orleans, and then he came to Miami to try to claim Miami. But our real original best DJ was killed the day before 9/11.
Wasn't Michael Jackson's Madison Square Garden concert was on a day before 9/11, and he was supposed to be in 9/11, and as in the tower for some meeting, from some business meeting, and he did not go to there. He did not attend the meeting because he overslept by somehow because he was late from the concert. But that makes sense because that is a typical Michael Jackson thing, because he was known to be late at other places because of the shows. Apparently that is also what killed him, the propofol. I guess I did some people. I haven't posted on that. Propofol equals 113. He was killed with propofol. But anyways, I'm just like just getting distracted.
Well, that's the thing, is like when you have a certain amount of money, you don't die and you don't go to jail. Like, you really think Bill Cosby went to? He has too
I don't know the
much
story
money
of
to
Bill
go to
Cosby.
jail. Like, I mean, Bill Cosby has too much money to go to jail. Michael Jackson has too much money to die. These people don't really die or go to jail. O.J. Simpson, he has too much money to go to jail. This just they want to make us think he went to jail or they're dead and this and that.
Celebrity Island. I think it's out there.
with that, with Michael Jackson, I guess he was, thrown off the industry because he exposed Sony, or if he was attempting to expose Sony, that's why they canceled it out of Hollywood.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Zach predicted the death of Prince, and I predicted the death of
who
King
died
Von.
in April 2016. Was
No,
it?
he predicted it way before it happened. Like way before it happened.
But he did die in April 2016. That's correct.
Yeah, he did. Right.
Sweet Lady's giving me the signal that she's trying to remind me that I'm supposed to be done by 9 because it's 7 minutes away.
I'll be very quick, Jack. Okay, so the buildings that fell were 1, 2, and 7. So 1, 2, and 7 in Jewish Gematria equals 2030. With the I guess they are doing something they have planned something else with 1, 2, and 7. They are probably going to call it the third Pearl Harbor, which will make sense as 1 to 7 equals 2030. Agenda 2030. William Henry Gates the second equals 2030. Those who don't know William Henry Gates the second, it should be Bill Gates' grandfather, but it is his father, Bill Gates' senior, is apparently William Henry Gates the second, because at least 4 people in his family share the same name. So, but I don't know. Wikipedia says it's just 3, so I'll just go with that, with the Wikipedia knowledge. So another thing is that Skull and Bones equals 201 in Francis Bacon, and with the armistice, not the armistice, the precedent, which is we have the current president of the United States. Democratic president equals 201, and he's born on November 20, which also equals 201. Just decoding some symbolisms, because I was into I used to like decoding this study about the symbols. Phoenix bird, which I guess it is, people misunderstand phoenix as the eagle, isn't it? In America, the American symbol.
There's debate over some things. Is it an eagle or is it actually a phoenix? So
Because phoenix makes sense, rising from the ashes. That is probably one of their logos also. So, which is a mythological bird who is rebirth
Phoenix
from its
in
own ashes
Arizona.
that is burned. Arizona Phoenix. Phoenix. I guess I did some decode on that also. Lights over Phoenix. That equals
But
2001.
the original song was called "By the Time I Get to Phoenix," and then Public
Oh,
Enemy covered it and switched it to "By the Time I Get to Arizona."
mhm. So Phoenix bird equals 56 and 70. 56 is 70 in basic counting, as well as I was doing some decode with the OKC19. They are both of the associates, as in both of the people who are arrested. They were called as anti-government nationals. Anti-government equals the Jesuit order in 3 out of 4 B ciphers.
Damn.
With the
I like
Trump,
that.
I would say.
I like
With
that
Trump,
a lot.
with-
Anti-government. I like that.
with Trump, what I'm seeing right now is that, so we have to think that he could probably be 47, because he recently joked in one of his friend who he was playing golf with, posted a video on TikTok, probably it was TikTok or Instagram, that Trump, while he was playing golf, he said, "I'm the 45th and the 47th president." So he probably kind of joked about it. So Trump equals 47, and Trump also equals 470 in Jewish gematria.
Yep.
Even Ivanka Trump equals 47, but I guess Ivanka Trump
47.
probably might run from election 2028 according to Simpsons. I guess Simpson is the best religion to follow. It's the most accurate than any other religion, I would say.
For real.
And
For real. That's a fact.
Regarding the predictive programming, I would say there is a movie called Morbius. Again, I would encourage you at any time after you're done with the book, get into the movies. I would say, especially Marvel movies or Sony movies, because now they're getting collaborating with some characters, because Sony owns most of Spider-Man characters. So Morbius is, by the comics, it's a Spider-Man property. It's a villain of Spider-Man. Morbius is a living vampire who is bitten by bats. So he becomes something like bat/vampire/human. Because it's not a Batman character. It just has powers that's reminiscent of a bat, like sonar, like flying, all those things. But this movie, I guess if you can, just after the stream, so this movie was supposed to release in July of 2020. The trailer was released in January of 2020. And imagine, just wonder what the story was, what the trailer is about. The trailer is about this character called Dr. Michael Morbius, who wins a Nobel Prize in medicine. He's a very accomplished doctor, and he himself has a disease since childhood. He grows up in an orphanage, and to cure himself, he goes to any extent, to the extent that he gets bitten on purpose. He gets bitten by bats in a cave, and the story with the bats, and he becomes something like /vampire/zombified kind of creature. And that was the initial conspiracy, that this
Right.
coronavirus had a lot of correlation with Resident Evil symbolism, especially with one of the biotechnology institutes in China has the same logo as that of the Resident Evil logo, which is a umbrella with a white and red stripes, which looks
Right.
exactly like the religious order, Knights of Malta, and the Knights Templars logo
The
with
Templars too.
the Templar cross. It looks exactly like the Templar cross, just if you just take out the umbrella outline. And I guess most people know that's coronavirus.
So they
is an
say
anagram.
they try to say that Corona started from a bat, right?
Yeah, there is. It's exactly like the Contagion.
But it's
movie.
funny because
The
right now
climax
you
of
have that movie in the theaters, The Batman. You know,
Ye-
now as the
and
coronas is
they're
supposedly
really
winding down, supposedly the
imagine
corona's winding down, and then they come with the bat. Supposedly the cases are going down.
imagine that they are releasing this movie Morbius has been I would say postponed 3 times. It's been delayed 3 times, and finally they're releasing out for 1st of April. From 1st of April, the 201st day is the day Event 201 was held, simulated in New York City. And just to make another point, that coronavirus is an anagram of carnivorous. Carnivorous is something which you eat the flesh. That's a category of animals. We are considered as herbivores and carnivores both, because some people are vegetarian like myself, and some people eat non-vegetarians. They are considered as carnivores.
I'm vegetarian as
So,
well.
my one of my last points would be edge over IBM. The one of the I guess you made a point about Hull and IBM. I learned that from Bill Cooper, I would say, with the one, if you just shift 1 letters ahead. So IBM equals 201 in the reverse primes. It also equals 129 in the reverse satanic, which is 201 in basic counting. HPO also equals 201 in the reverse prime. So I would say probably after Jewish, my next big cipher would be primes and reverse primes. There is also, okay, this probably be my ending quote, I would say, for today. In anyone who is a Marvel fan in the chat, again, shout out to Marvel fans. The most one of the most iconic phrases, which is of Tony Stark, Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr. This is a, what to say, clash between, what to say, ego clash between Captain America and um, Iron Man in the first Avengers movie.
Right.
Because Captain America has just woken up from the sleep. The same, what do you say, which where we have Corona beer and the virus logo. So in the Avengers movie, that is where they pick up from. So we have this guy from the 1940s, this guy who has all the riches of the world, Tony Stark and Captain America. They clash up with their egos, and then Captain America asks him, "Big man in a suit of armor, take that off. What are you? You're just a man with an ego." Tony Stark replies this, then I quote. He replies, "Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist." He just says it in a very sassy tone. Everyone likes that. It's called one of. It is by far one of the most iconic dialogues. If you write all those four, that equals.
What, can you say that again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's
what did
genius.
he say?
He just says genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. That equals 201.
Yeah, I remember that line.
Exactly. You don't need to be a fan. It's just that line is so iconic.
I remember
everyone still likes that line,
movie, yeah.
even till today. So that would be it. I can go for one more thing. Okay, someone was talking about that. I forgot who it was, but someone was talking about the ear and the the third eye, the relation someone's talking about. Well, I did read about this very back in the past after my high school, that take the points of the of your ears, the soft brain behind, which is medulla oblongata, I would say probably, and the the nose. And you have 4 points: the soft brain, the nose, and the 2 ears. Imagine yourself in the middle of your brain, you have the hypothalamus, which is called the third eye. That is actually the third eye. It's just that we represent it with the middle one. Imagine that. So it creates a pyramid inside your own skull, inside your own cranium. This is called the cranium. And with the nose and the ear thing, don't try this at home, at least if kids are watching this, and by any chance any minor is watching this. If you close your ear and if you breathe out from your if your nose, if you close your nose and if you breathe out from your nose, it's going to create some sensation in your ears. You feel like your ears must open. So try this with very
Oh, you
slowly.
showed me a
Don't
new
try
way to
this-
get high.
Talking about that, someone in the chat. I was reading the chat. Someone thought that I just had some weed. It's just the lack of it's just lack of sleep. I would say it's early morning over here. Right now it's 9:30. I guess that's 9 p.m. over there.
9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's
well, it's 11 o'clock p.m. in Alabama.
It's 9
I'm in
p.m.
Alabama.
Or in Zag, I would say. So it's 12 and a half. I'm
it's early. It's early.
Day and
Where's
night
Zach
difference.
at? Earlier.
It's day and night difference between me and Zach. But I would say that's it for me. I would be happy to decode some next time, but I don't know if I would probably be on the next time this time. Hopefully, Zach, after you're done with the book, if you can, before OKC 19 or after OKC 19, we can do a live stream together. That will be so I don't feel guilty of taking other people's time. That's
sure. I'm happy to do that. You're doing brilliant work. So we will definitely
also
do that.
with the videos. Thanks for everyone who is sharing my videos.
No, I like what you're doing, man, and you're kind of new, so that's good. You're already ahead of your time, like I was saying earlier.
I would consider that.
You're doing well. Because hey, what you get? Well, I'm gonna once I come out when my book is gonna come out in English. So, how does that work in India? Do I need to get it translated?
You don't really need to, because even I'm working on my book. It's just like I'm a very early stage of books. I'm planning to release it before the end of this year, and it's going to be in English, so you don't really need to worry about.
Okay. So Zach, let me ask you something. Do you have your book translated in other languages?
No, but I'm sure there's a way to do that at this day and age. It's probably not a bad idea.
It's got to be a way to do it.
Got to be, and you should probably, in my opinion, you should probably do it some of the European languages, probably French or Spanish. You might get a good following over there. I guess if I'm not wrong, in United Nations, the second official language is French, and in America, the second most language spoken probably would be Spanish.
Spanish, of course.
It was ruled by the Spanish before the British.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. All right, D26. Well, great work as always.
Thanks a lot, I would say. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks for getting up early for us.
That's a good thing, I would say. You're making good habit from me.
Well,
even for the
good.
TFR, it was that was the thing. I would wake up early just for the calls, and my mom would be like, "Why is he waking up early?" On some days and not on the other days.
Okay, well, we got a few more people on the stream. They got to get in there,
Yeah, sure.
And then I got to get my lecture from Sweet Lady. But let's go out to Ben. Ben, you still there? You got a closing message for tonight, Ben? Oh, Ben might have shut it down, actually. Weird. Oh, he chose to stay muted.
He's been gone for a minute. Ben been gone.
Yeah, he might have went away.
He's muted by any chance. If he doesn't know.
Decoding with Cody went away too. I can't unmute him. Well, Jonathan, you want to do your closing piece? You're here.
Yeah, I just want to say for the book, I'm still trying to get a good cover, but I want, remember this is hip hop, so I would like a graffiti cover with maybe like a 38 gun in it with the rapper being killed by it, something like that. But I would like graffiti so I can institute the hip hop one of the
I think it would make sense to have like the 3 biggest names in hip hop ever who died early on the cover. I think that would be a big draw.
That would be good too. Yeah, something like that. Because the covers, I only got a couple covers, but I haven't really seen nothing I like yet. I've only got a few though, but I like, because see, I talk about Tupac with the 38 and Biggie with the 38. Every rapper has a 38 in it, so I could pick any rapper, but like I like what you're saying, the 38 is just so huge that I could use the 3 biggest rappers. You're right, like.
Or it could just be like Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. You put those 2 on the cover, that's enough right there.
I feel like that would be good enough. I feel like that. And there's huge 38 with King Von and Pop Smoke and just the recent rappers that have died. Young Dolph has 38 in it. So there's always a 38 involved, which is why the name of the book is called 38 Special.
It's a great name.
Try emailing me on that. I just dropped down my email address. I made book covers. I also made one for few. I wouldn't like. I made few. For,
I see your email. Yeah, I'll email you. Yeah, but I wanted like I kind of wanted like graffiti style, like. You know what I mean? Like You know what I'm saying by that.
I'll look into that.
Send him a picture in his email of something that you have in mind, Jonathan.
Let me know what the reference picture would you like, because I also made like 3-4 covers for Zach's book. I don't know if you knew that, because I made those covers before I contacted him on the GTFR. So I guess I probably submitted, or say 3 or 4 options. And Zach, you have also reviewed that on your live stream. One was which you also commented that it looks like from Manly Hall. That's like looks like very old. It was one of the covers was that was my cover, I would say.
Okay, I got to go back and review. I'd like to know exactly which ones are yours. So I got to go.
I did some enhancements. I did some enhancements, and like it's my last covers. I guess probably you may not have seen that, but that's where I invested most of my time. Probably 1 week, entire week for that. But anyways, I make covers, book covers. I also have account of Fiverr, but I will probably talk about that on the next stream. I guess it's getting late for Zach, I would say.
Indeed, I went over. I always go over what else is new. DK Stonewood, did you have a closing message for us tonight? Everybody might have stepped away. Well,
my reception's so bad on this device. Can you guys actually hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
There it goes again.
It's like in and out though.
Yeah. You know what? I better wrap it up, or Sweet Lady's gonna be real mad. We'll be back again next week, you guys. And D26, we'll do the show when we get a chance. And Jonathan and I, we got to get back to doing our full show too. So all in due time. Thank you everyone who participated.
So Zach, I'm trying to see you on the 19th. You can be in OKC, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get there the weekend before.
Oh, all right. So I'm just trying to plan it all out now. So I'm trying to make
I'll be there on the 19th, but I'm gonna get there. I plan to be in town that Saturday, so that's the 16th.
Right. By then I should have the book. I should have the book already done, but I would just need you to like maybe edit it a little bit, give me a forward, and then after that I'm ready to go print. So I'm just I'm gonna tighten it up. You know how it is, man. I'm a perfectionist. That's why I ain't got it done yet. That's
sure.
I'm a perfect. You know, I'm just you know how it goes. I'm just trying to make it so perfect that it just hits so good that it's like, damn, it's so undeniable that you can't.
Well,
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying. You're a perfectionist too, Zach. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, it's hard. I mean, even you try to be a perfectionist. It's like I have typos in both my books, and even though you go over your writing a bunch of times, it's easy to still make a mistake. So, anyway.
What's with your third book? Are you going to release that before OKC 19?
It better be done before I leave for Oklahoma City. I mean, I'm trying to be done in the days ahead. So, yeah, I'm not too far from being finished. But, yeah.
Also, before you end the stream, do you still have the physical copies of the first book? By any chance?
I never had physical. The only physical copy I have of the first book is this one that's printed from lulu.com, because nobody would print my first book because I used news headlines in it.
Yeah, they was hating on them and stuff.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know if I have
it's
any
like what kind of bullshit is that?
So I can,
just some kind of bullshit law saying you can't have pictures in it, and it's just something to try to because he had certain pictures that came from the media. And they were saying it's like a copyright thing or something like that.
Yeah. I use news headlines without getting because they said I have to get permission from every single news source. And so I wasn't going to do that. I had like 500 different news sources in there.
Exactly. Okay, I'll have to look into that before I write my own book. I just have the points. I have the chapters.
Well, I learned from that though.
That's why I didn't put any pictures in this book. So there's no pictures in here.
Yeah, exactly. I learned.
Nice.
That was a good lesson learned, actually, because you don't want to do stuff like that, and then you can't print an actual physical copy. Because, like I talked about from the beginning with Public Enemy, once they have an album called "What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down," and they have a picture of Arizona. So once the grid goes down, you actually need a physical copy. You can't rely on the internet to read stuff. You need a physical copy of important books. So that's why I have stuff in print.
Indeed.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone who participated tonight. And we'll be back next Sunday. Take care, all.
Thank you, Zach.
Peace.
All right. Until next time.
All right.